I'm so annoyed with this week. I wasn't paying attention.
Hi, everybody. We keep doing that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sci-Fi Vision. We appreciate if you're here. Please make sure that you like and subscribe and check out all our other great stuff that is on the channel. Tonight we have Doctor Who and SurrealEstate, and we'll probably go over Dead City and Murderbot a tiny bit. And I know you guys, it sounds like from the conversation I heard when you thought you were live that you didn't like the stuff as much as I did, maybe.
And I gotta give a rundown again. Tonight we have Dr. What the Fuck, nothing against SurrealEstate.
Oh, yes, I would have to agree with that, though.
The Walking Dread, Dumb City, and Dumbbot.
I don't know. I liked Murderbot, but I agree that Doctor Who was definitely what the hell is going on.
Let's jump right into Doctor Who, and I'm going first tonight. Really simple. I don't know who the fuck is running things over there. I don't know if it's Disney. I don't know if RTD had an aneurysm and lost his fucking mind. But I'm sad to see Shooty go. Might be a good thing for Shooty though. You regenerate into a past companion? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, that is the dumbest thing I have seen on this show ever. All the things that have been annoyed me over the years. This is the stupidest fucking thing.
Tell us how you feel.
And I feel a little bit played with because the closing credits say Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, and introducing Billie Piper. So it doesn't say her as the Doctor.
And that's kind of the discussion everybody's having.
But I mean, the Doctor doesn't. I mean, he regenerated, right? And also, like, introducing Billie Piper, she was on the show for years. She's a classic character. So they're not introducing Billie Piper. So I feel like it was just a little too cute by twice as much, right? I have other problems with this season finale besides just that. I think I think Belinda ended up being really shortchanged as a companion. Not only was she like completely sidelined in this episode and given no agency, put in a box and left there. I mean, granted, right? And I think like this Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, has like so much unrealized potential that I feel like after 2 seasons, I didn't really get to know him. So much of what happened with him was left hanging. Like this episode really doesn't tie everything up. And I just feel like Ncuti, we hardly knew ye. Like his Doctor is an unsatisfying Doctor for me, not because I don't like the actor, not because I don't like Gatwa, not because I don't like the 15th Doctor. I just think they didn't do with him what they could have. And so I'm really unsatisfied. And that makes this one of my least favorite Doctors. Again, not because I don't. And so Justin has a comment in the chat. Jamie, Karen, and AJ, what do you think of Ncuti Gatwa compared to David Tennant, the Doctor he regenerated from? I'm really disappointed in the way. I'm disappointed in the 15th Doctor. I think Ncuti Gatwa is a great actor. I think he has charisma equal to David Tennant's. I think he's got, that he brought a new personality to the Doctor. But the 15th Doctor is a disappointment to me because they just didn't do anything with him.
I agree. I don't think they gave him enough to work with. I have issue with Billie Piper. I'm trying to maybe, I don't know, hope that he has a reason for what he did, and that hopefully if
doesn't matter. It's stupid.
Well, and because of the fact they didn't say the Doctor, I wonder if it's more just going to be like a little short thing. Like
don't play with us like that. She's the Doctor.
I don't know. Regardless of that, I do agree that I don't think Ncuti got enough time. I think that he was good. I enjoyed him. I enjoyed this season. I know there's been times you haven't, Karen, and I think AJ kind of agreed with me, and some of it sort of seemed to enjoy it a little more. But yeah, we didn't get enough of him. We didn't get enough of Belinda. We didn't even really get enough of Ruby either, but we at least got more of a resolution with Ruby. But then they brought her back just to do it again and sideline her as well. So yeah, I mean, I like the crazy reality story that they did, because at the beginning last week I was like, what are they thinking? And I like the way it kind of all circled back around. I like how they've been bringing in the old stuff from the other episodes, which I know you don't, Karen does not like. I do like that part. So I liked the overall story, and I was satisfied with how that came together because it wasn't anything I expected. The last couple minutes, yeah, I don't know how I feel. I'm still kind of like, I'm hoping he has a reason, and it wasn't just we like Billy Piper, let's bring Billy Piper back, because that's not a reason. Yeah, I don't know, but I do like Shooty, and I do think he didn't get enough time, and Belinda was, I agree with you.
So,
a lot of it.
Ironically, Shooty technically had more episodes than Eccleston. Eccleston had 13 episodes. Shooty had 16. Now, somehow it feels like Shooty had, like, Eccleston's doctor was much more developed than what they did with Shooty. Don't get me wrong. I loved Shooty's doctor. I liked what he brought to it. I liked the fact that he was very different than every other doctor, because after a while it starts to get stale. And I feel like he really invigorated some energy into the doctor. And unfortunately, apparently he's a hot commodity. Everybody wants him. So, a third season wasn't even an option for him, I guess, because, he's doing all these other things, which good for him. And like I said a minute ago, it might be better for him that he got away from the doctor, because I'm not sure what they're doing with this show anymore. And, say what you will about Jodie Whittaker's run, it still felt like the doctor, these past two seasons, until this season, there was a stretch there where I said, you know what? I feel like we're starting to feel like it's Doctor Who again. It's starting to feel like what we love about the Doctor. Overall, I like the season. I feel this season was much stronger than the first season. I'm glad that they tied everything together in a way that, for me, it made sense and it worked out. Something I don't like that they've done a lot the past two seasons is I like nostalgia. I like seeing the old doctors and little clips in here and everything, and referencing things here and there. Except they did it way too much. They did it like 5 or 6 episodes, and there's only 8. Like, you can't, like, every episode it seemed like they were, showing clips of old doctors, and they did it again and again and again and again. And it was like, enough already.
It's funny you say that, AJ, because a lot of people are frustrated that Shooty didn't face enough like classic villains. And
yes.
When he in season 1, Shooty was said that he wanted to be able to take on the Daleks. And he didn't get to. Only 15 doctors, only 2 have never faced the Daleks. The 8th Doctor and the 15th Doctor have never fought the Daleks. And the 8th Doctor has done it in audio and in books and in other stuff.
What's funny is he didn't face, now that I think about it, he didn't face any of the classics.
Yeah.
I mean, any of them.
They brought back all classic pieces, but not the villains.
Yeah, none. Yeah, I didn't, and Karen, until you just said that, I didn't even think about the fact that he faced none of them. I mean, you got 4 or 5 classic villains to face, and he faced 0.
Except the Ronnie, and the Ronnie was only in it for like 10 minutes across 2 episodes, right? The Ronnie was barely an actor.
I did like that Mrs. Flood's Ronnie got away, so it kind of leaves it open for the future. But you were saying lots of loose threads. I agree. We got Rogue for a second in the TV, but his story got dropped. Like, Rogue's not going to have the same impact if another doctor rescues him or meets him. Billy Piper's doctor goes and gets Rogue out of the hellscape that he's in or whatever. It doesn't have the same impact because there was serious chemistry between those 2 actors. And I don't think it has the same payoff. What the hell was the point of Susan? Him flashing Susan in his head or whatever the hell that was. That had no payoff. Why even do that?
What I kind of... Sorry, no, I was Jamie, please. If there had not been this whole big thing about him leaving that was kind of rumored everywhere, and it was not going to be so long until it comes back, I had almost wondered if maybe this was like a part-time change, because he still changed reality. They are still not in the original reality they were supposed to be in. So my thought originally was, well, maybe they're doing this and like it's going to be, for whatever crazy reason, he regenerated to look like Rose because it's messed up, and then it'll go back to what it was, and like maybe this is just like an arc, and then it'll go back to Shooty. But then they're advertising everywhere he's gone. BBC is saying he's gone. So that's definitely not the case. But I do question if he left because I don't believe the whole thing of, they fired him and all that crap. He probably, with, like you said, all his projects, he couldn't do it. But I kind of wonder how long this plan of him leaving was done. Like, was it rushed to get it out? Or was this something that, Russell T Davies had like planned from the beginning? I don't know. But I would have said maybe it was even temporary if it hadn't been hyped up the way it is, that I think now it's a for sure thing. He's not coming back.
I guess it's possible that there could be some bait and switch here where the doctor like somehow appear, because we saw an episode that was really about memory and about wishes, but and memory. But like, I guess there could be a bait and switch here where somehow he's appearing as Rose to us. But I'm sorry, regenerating into, even if it's not permanent, regenerating into your ex is some creepy, like what you appearing as your ex is super creepy to me. There could be a bait and switch here where somehow like then the regeneration continues and goes back to being Shooty or becomes another doctor, right? But the show is not renewed yet. God forbid they should cancel it and it ends like this. I don't think they're gonna, right?
They're going to either. But I would have rather them have him regenerate and just stopped it in the middle of the regeneration, like not show us who he turns into. That's what I really thought they were going to do. And this comes down to the rumors. I had kind of was complaining to you guys that I had already known this was going to happen. Although I'll be honest, every time I read this, I thought it was just crazy ass rumors and these people were making it up to be idiots, because who believed it would actually happen, right? I mean, the regeneration, maybe turning into Billy Piper. Yeah, I thought that was bullshit.
You know what's funny?
And then it happened, and I'm like, why? And I wish I hadn't known, because I do appreciate the fact that they did, for the most part, except for people who were like me, were stupid and looked up something they shouldn't have. They did keep it under wraps pretty well. We always know ahead of time when somebody's been cast and when this is happening. So I did appreciate that it was a surprise for most people. I just wish it would have been a surprise for me, but that was my fault. Nobody else's.
You know what's funny is when Jodie Whittaker showed up, I thought, oh, that must have been what Jamie got spoiled on. And then the whole Billy Piper thing happened. I was like, nope, that's what Jamie got spoiled on. Yeah, I was very happy to see Jodie Whittaker. I enjoyed that little moment.
Yeah, somebody had said there was video of the finale. And that was what I was like, I wouldn't mind seeing the video. I didn't want to read spoilers. I was trying to see what they were talking about. And I'm like, okay, I should have stopped. I just should have stopped. I deserved it. I kept looking and yeah, it was my fault. But I honestly did not believe it until like the last 10 seconds. I'm like, don't be Billy Piper. Don't be. And not that I don't love Billy Piper, but it's crazy.
Yeah, nothing against Billy Piper.
I'm like, I know you're regenerating. Just don't be Billy Piper. Oh, shit. That was kind of my reaction.
Yeah.
Although I also was spoiled on David Tennant, but I think everybody was spoiled with David Tennant coming back.
We knew he was coming back. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable here. We knew he was coming back.
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I just started.
I remember that I had a different reaction. I remember when I watched that regeneration, I was more like, be David Tennant, because I thought that was so cool. It was crazy. I didn't think it was really going to happen, but it did. But this time we didn't even know for sure regeneration was coming. I mean, I think that we thought it might. We've talked about it, made sense with the way the story was going, but it was not advertised. They did not say, oh, we're getting a new doctor and all that like they normally do and normally screw up. So I at least
the only thing. So something I thought about, and I don't care if this is the answer. Just the fact that it's Billy Piper is just driving me fucking nuts. But because the doctor used his regeneration into what's the whole heart of the TARDIS? Is it just heart of the TARDIS?
Time vortex.
Time
vortex. So because he did his regeneration power into the time vortex, I wonder if they're going to say that's why he regenerated into Billy Piper because of Bad Wolf when
that actually makes sense.
When she took the vortex into herself. I wonder if they're going to connect it in that way. Even if they do, still fucking
it does make sense, but it's still weird. But I even heard people say, well, we know that he could regenerate into Tennant. He went back to a different generation. We know that he met Peter Capaldi as a different character before he turned into him. So like maybe he can pull other faces, but
right.
I like that makes a lot more sense time vortex.
And that's fine with Capaldi because it was a side character. It wasn't a previous companion.
Speaking of, what the hell? The whole thing with Belinda, she was so important that he met somebody that was her ancestor, and we had this discussion before, and it seemed like it was going somewhere. And I know you didn't seem to like that idea, but at least it was like a plot point that they dropped. He did say in the episode, he said, "Oh, it was because I was supposed to save Poppy." But the fact of the matter is, in the end, you weren't her father, so why was that relevant? It wasn't.
Well, that whole thing is muddy to begin with, and and that's the big question at the end there. I've seen online some people think that Belinda was always Poppy's mother, and other people like myself think that the doctor shifted things a little bit so that Belinda could be, because I'm sorry, if they're going to try and tell me, if somebody's going to try and tell me that she was the mother the whole time and that's why she needed to get back, it's a bunch of bullshit to not give us those scenes to begin with.
Yeah, I think he still changed reality. That's what I'm saying.
No,
he's
I absolutely think he did.
Correct reality. That's why I said maybe it's not going to last.
I think it's a little bit like Dawn on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where Dawn was never around, and then like
yeah, but it turned out Dawn wasn't who we thought she was.
I know, but suddenly everybody remembers Dawn, and she's always been there, and everybody has memories of her, and she's like a little bit like that, like not that she always. At first, I was like, wait, don't even tell me she was always Poppy's mother, and the doctor didn't remember any of this stuff because that was driving me insane. And then I kind of got it. I think, the doctor, like, he's using the power, of his regeneration to nudge reality 1 degree, and basically create Poppy out of wishes and memories, right? And now everybody remembers her. Well, he's changed reality. It's not like Dawn, because Poppy really is the product of Belinda and her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that he shifted reality. And that's why I was saying
he absolutely did. Yeah.
It wouldn't stick. I was questioning because he did change it. But I like how they wrapped it around that it was her daughter, because it was a way that they could do it that didn't screw it up, because this show almost had like a fake ending. Like, I really thought that they had gone off the deep end, which he did anyway, and thought that they were going to have him have this kid and he was just going to like leave it with Belinda. I'm like, they can't do that. That's going to be so bad. So I was like, oh, okay. So then she started to disappear, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're doing this. So they kind of like did a few fake outs there along the way. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just not sure about the Billy Piper thing. Like I said, I kind of want to say I'm giving Russell T Davies the benefit of the doubt because I've liked his other choices, but I don't know how to feel. I do know that when I watched the episode last week and it had Shooty or the doctor kissing Belinda and they were married, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is like really stupid. And I'm like, okay, well, it kind of makes sense what they did. I like how it was completely not what I expected. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm just not sure how to feel really about Billy Piper.
I have a few more things that I'm like not down with in this episode. I'm really not okay with the doctor changing reality. So on the one hand, the doctor changing reality to save one life is a very doctorish thing to do. But on the other hand, like, changing reality is a very like doctor being like, no, you can't just change reality just for one person. Like, he didn't change reality to save Clara, right? That was a fixed point in time, I guess, that he couldn't change.
I have a comment on that too.
Why is Poppy not a fixed point in time? Why, like using his power to change reality to save one person is like, is it the most doctor thing ever? Is it the worst doctor thing ever? Like, that is such a like playing God kind of thing that the doctor historically kind of doesn't do.
Well, what's really fun? He kind of does from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. The doctor's whole thing is, we can't change anything. We're just here to observe. And then he gets involved in every single thing that they ever do. Yeah. I mean, hell. Talking about Capaldi, turns out the doctor was responsible for Vesuvius erupting. The doctor definitely gets involved in shit, whether he says he's not going. And it's a very doctor thing to do.
All right, fair.
Now, did he shift reality into such a way by making Poppy her daughter that it's changing reality that much that it's really going to screw things up, or
Kind of what I
is it going to be okay? We may never find out. Who knows if Steven comes back?
Yeah. I mean, so I have a bunch more issues. Jamie, do you want to quickly run through this? I see you got the photos up.
That's why I had forgotten to put the episode.
And I will shout out my major issues. And we have a couple comments. We have comments from Justin up there in the chat that will come back. We're not ignoring you, Justin. We'll come back to them as we move along.
Back to that. I'll store it there. Yeah, I just wanted to go through and like highlight a couple things I did like. I did really, and I know you guys get annoyed with them bringing things back, but I did really like the whole time hotel and that wrapped.
I did too.
Around.
I did like that.
I love that it's like the episode ended on this huge cliffhanger. How the hell is he going to survive this? And then he survived it in like 10 seconds. But I liked it. Like it worked and it was funny and I pulled it together for me. So I enjoyed that and I like her character. So I think it was cool to see.
That's one of my favorite episodes of the season, probably. So yeah. I enjoyed seeing her also.
Yeah. I know you said you didn't like, I take it then them showing the other doctors. I didn't mind that. I kind of liked that they showed, she's visited him and that's how she.
I like the way they did it with her, but I just, like I said, it got to be too much because it's been in almost every episode this season.
Yeah, I like the story points from the other episodes. I don't know that we had to see clips from all the other episodes each time. Like, I think maybe that was a lot. But
well, I like the way they did this because it was like she was actually witnessing these moments because of the time hotel.
And then
and so that's a complaint that has. So the Chibnall era like went way out to left field, and a lot of us, including me, were unhappy with the way Chibnall, where he went with the Timeless Child, which I want to talk about. But has Russell T Davies like returned too much nostalgia? Like, is there too much? Like, it's nice to see like the images of all the doctors. It's nicer when it's rare and special, right? And I don't maybe always need to see like all the doctors and all these like callbacks in the past. And like we saw Tennant, we saw that, we saw his doctor again last year. It was for the anniversary. It was very special. But now I'm going to see Billy Piper. Like, are we going to see like all these like? Is there too much nostalgia going on here? I don't know. It's just a question I'm putting out there. No answer expected.
No, I guess I more enjoyed the thing of them pulling in the story points. I don't need all the seeing the other doctor flashes, those kind of things. But the thing like pulling in the time hotel, that kind of, to me, that's a little bit different nostalgia, like that they fit in storylines from the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I don't even really think that's nostalgia. That was so recent. And that really worked story-wise. Like the door opens and Anita's inside there. Like that was a plot point that worked. Yeah. It wasn't just for the sake of it wasn't nostalgia. It wasn't for the sake of that. It actually worked in an episode that so much else didn't work for me.
Yeah. I like how they kind of shifted them back to reality. He did add in the bit about her name's Rose, right? I keep wanting to call her the wrong thing. Rose, yeah. Okay. I mean, I think this scene worked. I kind of get that, but they kind of said that last episode that like the people that Connor didn't. Or Conrad, sorry, not Connor, that the kind of thing he didn't see, didn't believe in, whatever, didn't agree with, that they didn't exist. But I think it worked. I didn't think it was too overly shot in there. I think it was enough. But
I mean, it was there just for the sake of being there. It wasn't like a plot point. It was a person who shows up for 5 seconds for no reason other than they wanted to put her in there. And I think it was in Vulture where they said, would it have been more meaningful? Like, so I get like she wasn't in Conrad's reality because he doesn't like consider people like her, I think is what the doctor said.
Yeah,
right?
That's what it means. Yeah.
And this critic had said, would it be more meaningful for her to have been there? Like he tries to deny that she exists, but she shows up anyway. Like would have been more meaningful to not erase her from that reality, but for Conrad to be unable to erase the trans person because they're real. And you can, or a trans person, any kind of a person, a black person, a Jew, whatever, right? Like you can't erase, like Conrad shouldn't have been able to erase a person from his reality.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hadn't even thought about it that way. That would have been better. I agree.
Not my thought. I'm crediting Vulture with that. That's correct.
Yeah, I just think it would have gone better. I agree. I love that picture. Not that necessarily that scene worked the best, but I like that picture. I like the whole, like I said, I love how they opened the time door and they're all kind of like starting to remember and they're all like, what the hell's going on? I liked that moment. I'm trying to see what specifically I wanted to talk about. So whenever the Ronnie comes back, that's what I was looking for. Let's talk about the scene with the Ronnie whole returning. Now, I don't know if some of this stuff was like added mythology or this is stuff I just didn't know about. I was going to ask you guys the whole thing with them being sterile and the genetic bomb or something that went up. Was that something that was from the classics that I'm unaware of?
We've always known they were sterile. The doctors mentioned that before.
Saying that it came from like an attack and all that kind of thing. I guess I didn't realize, like I knew they couldn't have kids, but I didn't know that there was like a specific event that caused. Didn't think they had referenced it before, but maybe I was just not remembering. I don't know.
My bigger problem here was where she talks about the creation of the Time Lords and how Omega created the Time Lords. And I'm like, no, pretty much like we saw with the Timeless Child that like this child was kidnapped from a different, right? And was experimented on. At the time, this child was experimented on by someone on Gallifrey and like spliced into their like DNA or whatever. And like and that's the person who created the Time Lords, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe so that's Omega.
Was this a retcon? Well, we saw it was a woman doctor. We saw that person. Yeah. We saw that scientist do that, and it was not a creature. Now, Doctor Who says,
well, it wasn't always a creature.
Yes, I know, but
yeah, I know this part was a little confusing.
Did you guys feel like it was rewriting? Like RTD is
not. I was asking. I didn't know if that was new or that was something I didn't know about, or because yes,
that's how I felt. I wondered if it was just something we didn't know about.
Yeah, because it definitely does not match up with the Timeless Child, but they're seeming to say it, or at least to me, it came off as we were supposed to know this, and that it. So yeah, I don't know. I found it a little confusing. But
I'll let you guys know when I get to that in the classics.
Yeah, I need to start watching those classics. But I did find it interesting that her, who I've heard all these, not that what she's doing is okay, but to know that like her goal was just to bring Gallifrey back. Like after that whole everything, like she's like, oh, I'm just trying to bring Gallifrey back. Yeah, maybe bad Gallifreyans, but like I kind of wonder, isn't there something that they could have done to work together to make this a reality, but not a bad reality? Because in the end, I don't know. I guess I thought her plan originally was going to be a lot more evil than I'm trying to bring back the race that was extinct. She just wasn't.
Well, but she's not trying to bring back just the race. She's trying to make Earth the new Gallifrey, like wipe everybody out and make it Gallifrey. That's pretty bad.
Well, see, I don't know. I took it not whether she would have really left them alone or not, I don't know. But I kind of took it that the only reason she went through this whole thing was just so she could find him. Like she didn't care about Earth. And she's like, you know, we can leave and do it elsewhere. We just need to do this. I don't know. I liked it. I was just surprised that it wasn't what I expected it to be.
The Ronnie's thing from classic Ronnie is just a ruthless scientist and science for the sake of science. So I took it like she's not bringing back Gallifrey because she misses Gallifrey.
No,
she only wants to do it because she can, and she wants to see what will happen. Her scientific curiosity is without any kind of ethics or morals. I don't think bringing back Gallifrey is a good thing. I'm sorry that they wiped themselves out, but like, isn't that a fixed point in time that can't be changed? And I think this was really rushed. I think the Ronnie storyline was really rushed. I think it would have been better for her to have been not have Mrs. Dobbs looking at the camera with a wink wink and making us ask, but let's have the Ronnie be a real presence the way the Master was a season-long presence for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, right? And if the Ronnie is like, the Ronnie used to be like the Doctor and the Master and the Ronnie were like three best, went to school together on Gallifrey, right? And I think maybe they couldn't get Archie Punjabi for more than one episode, or maybe there were two episodes, or maybe there's just too much going on this season. But I think that the Ronnie for me,
or not enough episodes.
Yeah, not enough episodes of the show. I thought the Ronnie was really rushed. I thought it was not well explained. I thought you had to really like listen and pause and rewind and then she was eaten by the end. And I almost would rather that Mrs. What's her name was the one who was eaten and that the awesome Archie Punjabi is the one who's able to come back. Nothing against that actress who plays Mrs. Dobbs.
Flood.
Mrs. Flood, but this was a
we've had a lot of her, and we haven't had enough of this Ronnie. I would agree with that.
Or Ronnie at
No,
all.
I
She
agree.
didn't do anything except be mysterious for like 8 episodes, and then she shows up and has like a 5-minute story, and that's it. I think it was not enough Ronnie for me.
I think this story was way too fast. I think that if they had added even just 1 episode, it would have helped. My biggest complaint wasn't even about the Ronnie. My thing I did enjoy the pieces, but my thing was they made all this big deal about bringing the Omega back, and he lasted for like 2 minutes, and he was gone again.
The reality war lasted 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The reality war was nothing.
They could have at least like had an episode them battling him, I think.
He's
Because
too
the
expensive.
already long. The episode was already long. They could have even added a freaking half an hour and split it into 2 episodes, and it would have been fine.
The Omega looked great. It was good special effects, and I guess that they blew the whole budget on like 1 shot of the Omega, and that was it.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe they could have put the Omega in a rubber suit. We would have been happy. I think most of us. I did like the effects, though. I think in the finale they looked really great and they worked. And I took a picture of this because I loved how they had like the ship wheel and they're turning the building this way and that in order to shoot. I thought that was kind of cool. It was silly, but it was kind of cool for something that they were able
I
to
love
do.
that the unit building has these laser cannons. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was. And I love how he tricked her too with the Sonic to get her motorbike, whatever you want to call it, air bike in there. And the whole, there is one thing I have a problem with here I wanted to mention. Okay, so he puts her in this zero room and explains it so if the wish gets destroyed, because he knows in the end the wish is probably going to get destroyed if everything goes to plan. The Poppy might disappear. If he puts her in here, they're outside of time and space. She won't disappear. I have a big problem with the fact that he is willing to stick his daughter in this cube where she might get stuck for the rest of eternity alone. Like, he's like, you can't go in there. You might be left there. She's your freaking daughter. And you're saying she can go in there by herself and that's okay. I had a problem with that. I don't know. Did that irritate you like it did me?
No, I had no problem with it because they spent all of 5 minutes trying to make me convince this child was the doctor's daughter and that he loved her. Like, it was so rushed. Look, I think Verada Sethu is a great actress. And in fact, we're going to go to Justin Says, she's no Britt Lower, who's from Severance, but she's the best actress on the show. She was very, very good. I thought she played these scenes very well where she was concerned about Poppy, her daughter. This didn't play great for me and wasn't that believable for me. Maybe, I felt like we just saw this in the Wheel of Time and it was so believable to me that Nynaeve spends 12 years in the Arches, which is like 1 minute for all of us, and like really like feels the pain of having lost this daughter. Now I saw that stretched out over multiple episodes. I think Verada Sethu did a great job, but it was so rushed that it was really hard for me to really, and I was like, the doctor has a child, WTF. And even when I knew it was a wish and all that, like, it didn't stick for me. So Jamie, it didn't bother me that much for him to to think about, parse that, how he's risking that child's existence or whatever, because I just didn't, I bought into Belinda being the mother much more than I bought into the doctor being the father emotionally.
That's fair. Yeah. I kind of had a problem with him being the father. Because they didn't even really explain that. I guess he wasn't.
Well, it was just all part of the wish.
It was like in a day or
whatever. Here is the bottom line with all the with 90% of 80% of these problems. It's 8 fucking episodes. There is not enough episodes for the story they're trying to tell, and you get shit crammed in together. These last 2 episodes, we got so much information and so much happened, and there was not enough time for it to happen organically. You need to stretch it out. Give me 13 episodes. The BBC had no problem doing 13 episodes. I don't know what Disney's problem is with all these short fucking shows. And it's not just Doctor Who. We've had all the Marvel shows are too short. It's just 8 episodes. It's just not enough for this episode you're trying to tell us.
Well, so the flip side of that is if Disney can't give additional episodes, then tighten your storytelling to
Yes,
fit
exactly.
with the time that you have. And this was a big story that maybe didn't fit into 2 episodes.
It absolutely did not.
Yeah, that's why I said even if they'd made it 3, I think it would have improved it because
Yeah.
it was already a long episode. It was already what, like an hour 20 or something like that. They could have
Actually, it's fun. It's actually funny when they were back in unit, and they were talking about the little changes, like the color teal wasn't teal anymore.
Yeah.
I thought that was like they were wrapping up, and then I saw there was still like 20 minutes left. I was like,
I know.
oh.
I was like, wait, what? It almost makes me wonder if the only reason they gave it the extra 20 minutes or whatever it is, extra 30 minutes, is because it was in the movie theater over there, and they wanted to make it long enough for them to.
Oh.
Well, they played both episodes.
A movie. Sorry.
They played both episodes.
Oh, they played.
They played 7 and 8 in the theater.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. Because I wondered since it was longer. Because I would have much rather had 3 normal length episodes than 1 super long episode that was crammed together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there were some good things. I enjoyed too. Even this conversation here, where she's like, "You came here like you always do, without a weapon. You just brought your speech. You're gonna go on, and it's not gonna work." So I liked some of those little. Jabs. And I liked how, and by the way, there's the symbol. That was that symbol that had appeared on that frame we saw. I'm guessing that's that's what I've started calling it, as Omega symbol. I'm not sure what else.
I actually thought it reminded me a little bit of the door to the Chamber of Secrets.
It does. Now that you said that.
Doesn't it? With that swirly kind of thing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. So then we have Conrad and Ruby's story. I like too how the whole plan all along was just to kind of distract him to change what was going on. But that was sort of the smaller part of the story. I also kind of wonder that the doctor decides to just stand by and let her do this because they're like, don't you want to see him? And he's like, yeah, and just lets her do it. Like he doesn't even try to stop her. So there were moments like that I was questioning it a little bit, like this is supposed to be such a huge bad thing and you're continuing to buy into it. I mean, we knew it was going to happen anyway, but he didn't try very hard to stop it.
I mean, that's one of the things that I feel like they denied the 15th Doctor. I felt like he sometimes was impotent, like he stood by and watched things happen and cried and was like, oh my god, I can't do anything, we're all gonna die, and he cried. And I felt like they denied this doctor some of the like real epic taking on of his foe and using, like, I just never seen a doctor before who like does that. This doctor seemed to like stand by and let things happen, and this doctor a defining thing of Doctor Who is that, yes, he has limitations. He's limited as a person, but he never is limited when he's facing a foe. He's always like, I can do this. I'm the smartest guy in the room. Even when he doubts himself, he always does it. This doctor, I thought, was a little, I don't know. And so for him to stand there and just let her do it kind of is in character for 15.
I guess that's true. Yeah, but that's a problem. But yes,
it's a problem. Yes.
Look, I get that they made it look like this, whatever they called it. I think he called it a Mega Beast.
It was great. It's some really good.
It's cool. I agree with you. That was probably all they could afford in the budget after everything else, maybe. I love that he ate her, but I agree with you. Maybe it would have been better if he ate Mrs. Flood. But I thought that was funny how she's like, oh, I'm going to stop you. And he's like, no, you're not. I'm going to eat you. And, fix her up. I thought that was kind of cool. And I thought it was just as funny, too, that Mrs. Flood took off. And was like, I'm just going to use this bracelet. And they did explain, at least with the time bracelet.
Time ring.
And now, I wasn't sure. The one thing I did want to ask you about is they had this whole buildup with the Vindicator. I wasn't sure at first if he was really saying, I don't have a weapon. And then all of a sudden he realized it, or like that was him saying, oh, I don't, like faking saying it. Because obviously as an audience member, you're like, oh, he's going to take the Vindicator down, which I thought was cool. But I wasn't sure if he was faking the thing out or he really didn't see it at first, which I thought was kind of strange. So yeah, I was just curious what you guys thought on that.
I didn't give it that much thought.
You didn't give it that much thought. I did like, though, that he used a Vindicator, because I think it's cool that thing's been there the whole time and it just now finally has a purpose. I just didn't know if it was a fake out when he was talking to Omega. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to.
I didn't think it was. I took it like he was like, oh wait, I have the Vindicator.
Yeah.
Like I forgot I have this great weapon because I have been telling you for 8 weeks that it's just a measuring tool.
Yeah, they had said last week something about how much power it had in it. I also I didn't even notice till now, the thing on the top of it looks like a little TARDIS, doesn't it? I didn't even notice.
It does. It does. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah.
I just thought the whole time it looked like a guitar, but
Well, yeah.
I always thought it looked like a guitar also, yeah.
Yeah. I have a problem that Omega was supposed to be the super horrible villain that was going to destroy the world, and we got to see him for less than 5 minutes, and he's already defeated. That was, I think, my biggest gripe about the episode is I would have liked to have seen more of what Omega could do, or otherwise, what was the point of bringing Omega in? Why not have it some other way she was trying to, rebuild Gallifrey? It was just a little, it wasn't really a point to it.
Not enough episodes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But it did look good. I think it looked amazing this whole episode. I think everything worked with it. And I totally understood with the baby. Like I right away was like, they're totally going to give it to Ruby's mother. So I liked how they
I didn't think that far ahead.
No, that part I did.
It made perfect sense when it happened, but
yeah, it did. And I like also that they ended the wishes, because otherwise, you don't want that story thread going on. But yeah, this part, I really thought as soon as Poppy came back, I really believed that maybe this was the way they were going to leave it for now. And then whenever Poppy disappeared again, I thought, well, maybe this is the way they're going to leave it for now. So they did, do a few different things that I wasn't 100% sure what they were planning, because I just remember saying to the TV, they can't keep her his daughter, because that would be either the baby's going to be there and annoying us, and me and Karen are going to be complaining about it like we always do when there's a baby.
You can't drag a damn baby all around space.
Or he's going to leave it with Belinda all the time, which is just as bad. Like, you can't do that either. So once the baby disappeared, I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm okay with this. Like, it's really, really sad, but at the same time, it makes sense. And then they shifted it again. So I was surprised a lot by this episode. Like you said, it's like we thought it was done and there's 20 minutes left.
So I do want to talk about how I had too much Ruby Sunday this season. But I thought that scene where the Doctor and Belinda are talking about how great it's going to be to have Poppy around, and they're passing the vest back and forth. And Ruby's watching, and it took me a minute, and I was like, wait, why are they handing that vest back and forth? What is going on? Why are they? And then you see it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and Ruby is so that was a great scene. That's a great idea. I got to give the RTD or whichever writer came up with that. It's a great idea. It played out so well. It was so moving. It was so emotional. To me, that was maybe the best scene of the whole episode.
Yeah. And it was really sad too. This whole thing was heartbreaking. Yeah. But like I said, I could have also seen it end there and been okay with that. And that's why I questioned that him changing reality again isn't necessarily a good thing. Is it possible that this could all be rewritten again? And that's why I said this whole crazy thing with Billy, what if it's possible that this is only going to be a 2-episode arc or something, and then she's gone and they have somebody else? Then that makes sense to me, and I would maybe be okay with it. So I'm really kind of, when it comes to Billy, I want to see what he does. I'm willing to see why. If it's that she's going to be the Doctor for the next 3 years or something, then I'm going to have a problem with it. If it's just a little gimmick, I'm kind of annoyed because it's a gimmick. But if it's temporary, it's not quite as, I guess, disastrous. Because it kind of makes sense in my eyes, because he did change reality and not necessarily the way he was supposed to. Maybe he'll find out, shit, I got to put it back. We got to let Poppy disappear. Poppy was never meant to be, because when Poppy lives, then this happened. You know what I mean? That I could be okay with. So that's why I'm kind of waiting to see how it goes. This girl is so cute, though. That actress is just so sweet.
She was the least annoying child I might ever have seen on television. She was very cute.
She didn't say anything.
Right? She said,
no, she did on some of the behind the scenes things, though. They had her talk.
She's a cute baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Ruby, because I didn't get to talk about her last week either. I've mentioned this before. I thought there was too much Ruby. Not that I don't like Ruby and I don't like Millie Gibson, but it compromised Verada Sethu's companion. It compromised Belinda as the companion, and like she had little enough screen there. There was companion light episode. I'd say this was a companion light episode in that she gets locked in a box and has they're fighting for her daughter, and she's the person who's most fighting for her daughter, and she's taken out of the action and put in a box with the baby. And it makes sense. She's like, I don't want to leave her alone, but I was like, God, this is like, she's the one person who really, and they leave Ruby to fight for that baby, right? And so it really bothered me, but I just feel like there's so much Ruby that it really...
they could have just had Belinda fighting for her the whole time. No, you've forgotten our daughter. She exists. Like, that would have been better, I think.
Like, why does Ruby have to be the one who remembers? And, like, that's not really well explained anyway. Like, why Ruby remembers? Like, why does Ruby have to show up and be the one who remembers? Why can't...
Yeah, I didn't get that either. Nobody else remembered but Ruby.
Yeah, why can't Belinda's love for her supposed child be what makes her remember? Why is it Ruby? It's never explained.
The only thing I could think was the whole 73 yards thing, because she already lived a different reality. That was the only thing I could come up with in it. If it is that, it's very thin and they didn't explain it.
Yeah,
I did like that it was brief, but I did like that the Ronnie mentioned the 73 yards.
Yeah.
And Ruby's like, what are you talking about?
I mean, Conrad was weak also. So Mrs. Flood kidnaps him out of jail, but couldn't anybody have been there, like holding the baby and making the wish? Why was it Conrad? Like, it
wasn't really explained.
No, and Conrad almost becomes sympathetic, and then Billy wishes him happiness, and Ruby wishes him happiness. I thought he got off easy. I'm not saying she should wish him into a hell dimension, but everybody knows, like,
Rogue's there.
Everybody knows that says more about Ruby than it does about Conrad.
Everybody knows that I like to read Vulture, and that writer suggested, why didn't she wish him to have true remorse and for him to really be able to feel what he had done? Instead, he gets off scot-free by wishing him to be happy. He gets off with no punishment for what he's done, no consequences, no living with, no even memory of what he's done. So that writer at Vulture thought that Conrad and Ruby let Conrad off the hook.
That would have been much better.
And there could be another wish for him. But Ruby's a nice person. You're right. It's about Ruby's compassion. But yeah, I just think Ruby, like the writers wanting to include Ruby. I like Ruby, but it didn't allow Belinda.
Yeah, like maybe they should have just kept Ruby and never brought Belinda in if they were going to do what they did.
She's going to be in half the episodes to make her a companion for the whole season, and let Verona Sethu be more on Andor, where she was awesome.
Yeah, bring her in next time, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with all the things that you have said, but she was the one that
I wish my boss would say stuff like that. I agree with all the things you have said.
No, I hadn't thought of that, but that would have been a better. But honestly, that's, I think, too, why she was pissed. She's like, one wish survives, and it's freaking what I did for him. Like, that's so unfair.
I would love, regardless of what ends up happening with the Doctor next season, I would love to see Ruby and Belinda still be a part of it. But I mean, but then again, Belinda's probably a no-brainer, not going to happen because she has Poppy to care for now.
Yeah, I agree.
So, hey, can we circle back to Rose's question real quick?
Yeah.
Do you think in Wish World on the 23rd it was a fake reality, but then the Doctor went forward in time to make it a real reality on the 24th? So it's all assumed that Wish World.
Reality when the.
Do you think it was fake, and then the Doctor went forward in time to make it a real reality on the 24th? So he did make it a real reality, but is Rose asking, did he restore that? Did he restore reality? Did he restore reality? Like the idea that Poppy always was Belinda's daughter, Wish World was fake.
Yeah, because he couldn't just travel to the future. They tried that before. They couldn't get past that point. Or no, that's not true, because they went to that planet and it was past that.
Yeah.
But they couldn't go back to that date. It all existed around it. Yeah, I like I said, I like how he shifted reality to make it that she was always there. I just question that it makes sense to leave it that way, because the reality wasn't meant to be that way. Poppy was never meant to exist. Just like, they screwed up gravity. Could this be a bad choice that's going to bite them in the butt later? I don't know. But yeah, I guess we'll have to. But we seem to all be in agreement that we don't think that they're not going to bring it back. I mean, we do. I would
have
be
no idea.
extremely surprised if it didn't come back. Whether it comes back on Disney is kind of irrelevant. BBC is going to continue it, I think. I mean, that's kind of the opinion I get, and I know we don't know everything, but I would just be really surprised if it didn't come back. It's too big of a
a property for Disney to not have made a bigger commitment than beyond it, to make it a tent pole, right? Just like they bought it to Star Wars big time.
Also, it sucks for him to go and do that just to leave it there. It's like you're going to do that and then just end it there. He has to have a plan, I feel like. Otherwise, it was the point. So then the doctor goes back and now what was up with this?
Okay,
this was
hold on a second. Before we do that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to mention, maybe leave it on that picture, because this might be one of the worst lines. I mean, there's been some cheeky lines in this show.
I think I know what you're going to say.
This, when they're all like, Ruby's trying to get them to remember Poppy, and Ruby's like, "You saved me," and Belinda's like, "You saved me," and and everybody's like, "Oh, you saved me at one point. You saved me," and Kate says, "In a way, we're like all your children." What?
Yeah,
that was such a bad line.
Yeah, it was.
But then there's a great line coming up after he sees Jodie Whittaker.
But so stop right here though. Right before AJ, that horrible line. One thing that also didn't sit well with me was when Ruby, the whole time Ruby's like, "No, Poppy was real," and Belinda and the doctor are like, "Ha ha ha, Ruby, you silly Ruby, you just don't remember." Like the not taking Ruby seriously by the doctor in particular. Like I get Belinda doesn't know her, but it was like offensive. Like Ruby should be offended. Like the companion is always like the doctor's closest, most trusted friend, and he loves them all. And like to be like, "No, Ruby, you're wrong," after everything they've seen and been through, I really was like, that was like not doctor-ish to me, right? That was out of character for the doctor.
I took it a little bit different way. I thought more the laughing was about when she's like, "Oh, you two had a baby together," and they're like, "Wait, what?" Like that's what I thought the laugh was about. But I agree, they should have listened to her. But I thought them kind of laughing at her was more them laughing at the idea that they had slept together and had a baby. Was how I took that. But yeah, they should have believed Ruby.
The more she insists, the more they disregard her. Like, "Oh no, you're wrong."
I agree with that. That part's kind of
it's not to me, that wasn't like true doctor. To not like the doctor believed every single thing Amy Pond ever said, even when it was crazy talk, right?
Yeah, true. He also, the one thing we did skip is he also put that paper from the premiere episode threw back into space.
Oh, yeah,
so they closed that loop.
Yeah.
So the doctor has to fix everything. And I was just going to ask what you guys thought about the TARDIS showing him these images, what the point was to that, because he says, "Why are you showing this to me?" And that's whenever the doctor comes in. Was it just like a foreshadowing she's going to appear 2 seconds later? Was this foreshadowing he's going to turn into somebody with a face he knows? Or was it just another reference for no reason? Like I was a little confused.
Gratuitous nostalgia. Yeah.
I because that part didn't make tons of sense. But then we get 13th Doctor, which this part was also part of what was spoiled. That I had heard that she was coming back to help him regenerate. But I did love though the line where he's like, "It's usually that other guy."
Yeah, that was a great line.
Yeah.
I also like when she was like, "Oh, you redecorated." I don't like it. Why does it have to be so big? With the whole thing about it being bigger on the inside too, and it just no. She's like, "I don't like it."
It doesn't need to be like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked seeing her. I thought it was nice they brought her back. I think
I liked it too.
When they have more than one doctor together. Did they need to, with the amount of, like we said, nostalgia they put in here? I don't know that we needed another thing added on top of it, but I did like seeing her. I would have preferred it to be Capaldi, of course, because she's not my favorite doctor, but I liked it. Sorry, go ahead.
She's the acting was like breaking my TV screen. They were so good. She's such a good actress, and they were so good together.
They were. I would love to see a special with them together.
I mean, that's what made it work for me. In a scene that didn't have to happen, and maybe didn't make 100% sense, these two pulled it off for me.
Might be the best scene in the episode.
Yeah.
No, we have the other thing I think that's important about this scene is that he tells himself, however you want to say that, he's like, "I love you," when she's going out. because now he's this doctor that's changed and he doesn't want to leave people without telling them that, is I guess the idea. And then I know a lot of people are happy because she's like, I should have said that to Yaz. And he's like, you don't. That's where I would have preferred it. And I know you don't agree with me at all, but I would have preferred that whole scene to happen with 12 and talking about Clara. That's my personal opinion. That
I don't believe they were in love, so I don't feel
like they weren't. That was not. No,
I don't know. I ever bought the Yaz and her thing though either. So I mean, I didn't mind.
No, the Yaz and her thing was very apparent.
No, I'm just saying I don't know that I bought they were necessarily in love. I bought that they liked each other, but I don't know that I bought they were in love. But
wait, what, 13 and Yaz or 12
I kind of sometimes feel like, and maybe I should be saying the same thing about 12 too. Like, I think that I think that they love all their companions in a certain way. And sometimes I wonder if she like loved I don't want to say just loved the adventure. Like, I think she cared about Yaz. I just don't know if I thought she was like madly in love with her, like they're trying to say. But I think that it made a lot of people happy. So, it's cool. Right, I don't mind it. I just wasn't expecting it. And it made me think.
What I liked about that was when he tells her he loves her. I like that she's like, we've never said that. And he's like, yeah, well, I do things different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that he did tell Belinda and the girl Poppy that he did tell them he loved them when he left too. I thought was cool. So yeah, he's using I like the idea too of using the regeneration energy, and it's like you knew at that point he was totally
I mean, that can only happen now that they've given the doctor unlimited regenerations. Back in the day when the doctor had 13 regenerations, this would have a whole different level of meaning for him to use one on this. But now the doctor has unlimited regeneration, so it's not as consequential.
Yeah. I still am not going to get over the fact that I think that if the Ronnie didn't survive the space, he shouldn't have either, but that's kind of like been and gone. And I can't keep saying that, but it does annoy me. But yeah, I like the way they made it that she was her daughter all along, because it was a way that worked. I just don't know if there should be consequences to this, and that's
yes, there has to be consequences.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm saying maybe the rose stick for that reason.
He went and did exactly what he was fixing.
Yeah, he changed He literally changed reality.
To stop reality from being changed.
No, he changed reality. He didn't stop reality from being changed. He changed reality.
He changed reality to stop other. Well, no, actually, that's not true. He changed reality.
He changed it 1 degree the other way.
Yeah.
He changed reality to save the life for selfish reasons. For the doctor to change reality to save one life, yes, it's very doctorish. But he changed to save one life that means a lot to him. It was a selfish move. It wasn't like this random kid is being killed and he's like, oh, I have to say it's not fair to lose a life.
Yeah, the kid never existed in that sense.
Well, the kid never existed, and it was a kid that he felt was his child. It was Belinda. It was a purely selfish move.
Yeah,
I think.
And I think that there's no reason that the box couldn't have worked, and end of problem.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but
except that box was built in about 5 minutes, so I'd be worried.
No, but if the box worked, though, what do they do with the baby? Or do you mean saying the box didn't work?
No. If the box worked, and they came out, and everything was fine, and like the whole forgetting her and her disappearing,
it's not really clear why that happened.
Yeah, really made no sense, except for everything being off a degree.
It became real only to not be real. It was like a lingering effect or something.
But that was the whole. The point is, the whole point of the box was so that she didn't blip out of existence once the wish was over. And if they had just gone with that and she stayed, and that was the only change to reality, fine. But now the doctor has gone and changed reality in the other direction.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they wanted to, I did see in this, the doctor he always has a companion, but the doctor's the loneliest man in the universe, always, right? The doctor's like always alone. He sometimes spends millions of years alone in between companions. It just happens off screen. He's the last of his kind. That's a defining thing, his loneliness. And he experiences, like, it's not real, but he experiences a marriage and having a child, and then the opportunity to have this child and to and then to lose it, like there's a story there. We just had to see it in like 2 minutes in Shooty Got Was Eyes, right? I mean, he played it, but like, if that's the thing that the doctor had to save her, he wanted to save this baby because, yeah, he's not going to sacrifice one life, but it wasn't. If he's going to save her because he's got this idea of playing house or not playing house, but being a family, like there wasn't enough there. Like I caught it in Shooty's performance, but it was only there it was fleeting and it was gone, right?
Yeah. I did read, and I kind of wonder if this had to do with that supposedly they made 2 different endings. I don't know whether that was like, so people didn't know what was coming or if they had changed their mind. I almost kind of wonder if maybe they didn't have that there originally. But I don't know. My only problem is if the box worked, what do they do with his baby? That would be
Belinda.
Your issue. Yeah, but he can't just leave his child with Belinda and go off.
Sure he can. He's doing it anyway.
I know, but to me that would be stupid and I'd be annoyed at.
He's doing the exact same thing anyway.
He left his granddaughter and never spoke to her again.
But now it's not,
he left his wife, River, all the time.
No, I know. I'm just
River's
saying,
different. River doesn't count.
I think that bringing the baby into the story created a problem in the first place.
Yes. Yes.
I almost would have rathered whenever she disappeared, her to disappear and Ruby to like forget it after a couple minutes. I think maybe that would have worked better. I don't know. Yeah. It would have been sad and I would have been bawling my eyes out, but I think maybe it would have worked a little better.
It almost makes the Susan thing worse, that the doctor is willing to change reality to save this child, but he has not spoken to his grandchild in like decades, since the 80s for us, right? And for her.
And I have a problem. They brought her in and never.
Yeah, and didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Anything rogue.
Yeah. So. All right, we got a couple questions to take for Doctor Who before we move on. Okay. Jamie, Karen, and AJ, if you could be any of the doctors from 1 to 16, who'd it be? I mean, I have a couple I'd like to be.
I don't know. I feel like I'd want to be my own doctor. Meet one of the doctors, maybe. I don't know that I'd want to be one of them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I'd want to be one. I'd want to meet one.
I mean,
I think be a companion. I think I'd rather be a companion.
I think 12 had the best outfit. I love that black jacket with the red lining and the way it went with the black trousers. I also think like.
Wait, you mean 11?
She means 12. Capaldi.
I mean 12. Capaldi.
Yeah.
I love Capaldi's outfit. I love Capaldi's outfit, and I'm cranky like Capaldi. And like the Capaldi doctor, and he, like, I liked his doctor. He took a long time to grow on me. I didn't like him at first. Jamie too.
We were the same, and now he's my favorite doctor. So yeah, I'd probably say 12 too, just because he's my favorite doctor. But I think I'd rather meet a doctor or go around with the doctor or be my own doctor than be a specific incarnation of the doctor.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be the doctor, I'd rather be the doctor than which of those doctors I would want to be. So I'm going to change Justin's question to which doctor I'd want to hang out with, like you guys just did. And that's not an easy question.
Hang out with, though. I kind of feel like
10 be a companion
would be the funnest to hang out with.
10?
Yeah, like just fun wise, but like overall.
More fun than 11? I kind of like 11.
Wait, you think?
I mean,
you think Tennant was more energetic than
Matt Smith?
Yeah, well, I think they both were, but I liked Tennant more. I liked his doctor more than Matt.
Tennant's more one of
James. I didn't like both of them. But I mean, 12 is always going to be my favorite doctor. But would he be as fun to hang out with on a daily basis as 10 or 11? Maybe not. So yeah, I think it depends.
I mean,
it's a really tough question because Tennant would probably be the one to I enjoy hanging out with. I think Smith is too quirky for me. He'd probably annoy the shit out of me.
Some of those older doctors.
But actually, I would love to hang out with Shooty's doctor. I mean, the energy he brings to every situation.
Yeah, he would be fun too.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the original classic Doctors also. I mean, I haven't.
I've only seen 2 classics.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen enough of them to.
It's been a long time since I have seen, but there was when they were discovering some of these classic planets and classic villains for the first time, and having some of those really classic storylines would be cool. I don't know, like every Doctor. I mean,
there's something fun about all of them, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's
yeah.
And
that's why I think it's really sad. Like I agree with what AJ said. Like it was finally starting to feel like Doctor Who again, and it's like as soon as it starts to get there, and I'm there, and I'm all in, and I'm liking him as a Doctor, then they take him away, and that kind of sucked. I would have liked at least another season with them, and it sucks that they.
Well, there could be that maybe Billy Piper is a temporary thing, and he doesn't fully regenerate, or.
But do you think at this point, after it's everywhere that he's gone, that they can
is it official? As BBC said he's gone? Has Disney said he's gone?
I've seen, from what I can tell, yes. BBC has released things of him saying it's the end and goodbye and everything. But I guess
let me put it this way: just because they're saying that, does it? I mean, I believe he's done. I believe they're moving on. But just because they're saying that doesn't mean that your wish doesn't come true, Jamie. Go find a baby and kiss it on the forehead.
Yeah.
No, I mean they still could. That could be like the biggest hoax on TV for a long time.
I mean it totally. I mean they kept the whole Billy Piper thing a big secret.
For the most part, yes. For most people.
I mean, I didn't. Jodie Whittaker too. I didn't have any idea she was coming.
Oh, yeah, I didn't either.
So I mean, they did a pretty good job keeping it quiet. I mean, who's to say they're not keeping it quiet? That when Shooty gets done with his play that he's doing, that he comes back as a Doctor. Who the hell knows?
I think it.
I mean, it's not. I mean, after David Tennant becoming the 14th Doctor, who's to say he doesn't become? I mean, he can be the 17th Doctor now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, Muncher Luncher, because you missed that part, the God of Wishes was part of the storyline, and it was in a baby. And when they kissed the baby in blue, they made a wish, and it came true. And that's kind of part of the storyline that we were talking about.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they changed. Like I wasn't surprised he regenerated. I was surprised they showed it. I kind of feel like if they weren't going to come back for a couple years, that wasn't necessary.
We don't know that either. We don't know what's going on.
Well, and it's not going to be instant because they have to make it. And there's always a big space between seasons. I mean, we know that. Usually you get a Christmas special, but I mean, otherwise it was a couple years before the last ones. Or before, in between, like between Tennant and him, like it was a while. You know what I mean? It wasn't instant.
Sure.
It takes a long time to make a show. Yeah.
Well, part of the reason that they did that intentionally, I actually read, because they wanted to wait for the anniversary to start doing everything. That's why they took a little longer than usual.
I see. I would have at least liked a Christmas special, though, regardless of who's the Doctor. Like they could have just brought her in as the Christmas special, and then, maybe that would be okay. Yeah, I still just don't know how I feel. Like I like Billy Piper, but I'm just kind of still a little.
Yeah, I like Billy Piper too, as Rose.
As Rose, yes.
Rose, yeah.
And if she's going to be the Doctor for a bit, there better be a really, really good explanation of why the fuck that happened.
There's no explanation that's good enough.
Probably not. But yeah, who knows if it'll be forever. It was intentional that they didn't say as the Doctor. I mean, everybody has brought that up. Said that just said introducing Billy Piper. So yeah. So I guess we'll have to see what that screenshot's creepy. I'm not sure which screenshot he means is creepy, if it was that or one of these. But she is smiling a little creepy. Just as a screenshot, not like in the scene. It worked when she did it, but yeah, I don't know. I just think to me it would have made more sense to have the regeneration and wait to do the reveal. But I guess he knows what he's doing, or he knows what he thinks he knows what he's doing, and I guess
he thinks he knows what he's doing.
He thinks he knows what we're doing.
Listen, we've questioned a lot of stuff that RTD has done past 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's also though written a lot of my favorites too. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see.
He's no Stephen Moffat, but
That's also true. Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know. I'm still want to watch it. I was enjoying it, even if I didn't agree with some of the choices. I was still enjoying it. And people sometimes complain too much. I will say that there's a lot of negative, crap surrounding these last 2 seasons that is ridiculous, I think, and it doesn't help things. So it's like that movie.
All right.
That's funny. All righty. You want to go on to SurrealEstate next? Or do you want to do one of the other ones first?
I'm on mute. Let's talk. SurrealEstate's the least terrible of what's waiting us. So let's talk about SurrealEstate. So Jamie, I watched, I was on vacation last week. I watched 2 episodes back to back. I think last week was the dreams, and this week was what was the main mystery of the week?
Was one of them going to the graveyard to solve the clue.
The scavenger hunt. Hunt.
I actually really liked this one. You didn't like this that much? I really liked it.
I liked it. I just, I don't like the whole Tyler storyline. Like the season-long storyline is not going
I think they stretched it too long. I think they should have wrapped it up before now.
I like this. I especially like the scenes with Rita and the ghost father.
I did too.
That was really a highlight of this episode for me. I really liked all of that. And the scavenger hunt was, it was okay. There were a couple parts of it that I was like a little like, all right, whenever you're rushing through it. I don't like any time that creepy elephant's on my screen.
Oh, okay. At least he finally realizes the creepy elephant's Tyler, though. We got that scene with him and his mother. And I kind of like that we got a scene with him and his mother. I mean, she hasn't been in it for a while. And, I mean, that whole storyline was really convoluted with what happened back then. But I like they brought her in. But yeah, I like Rita. I mean, she's like this horrible character that you like, but it's at the same time like you like to hate. It's It's funny. She's this bitch that is always causing issues, and she's like, now you're going to do this for me, and I'll give you a tiny bit of the profit. At least if I no. Sorry, what?
She said she'd split it.
No, she did in the end, but he had to be like, no, we're doing 50-50 or you're on your own. Because at first she's like, oh, I thought it'd be more like 60-40. And it's like, no, that's not happening. But yeah, I thought that, though, I'll be honest, the fact that they were trying to figure out what the answers were, I thought that their immediate, what they were going to do to fix it, I thought would be, why not just go to the house and try to talk to the person who lived there rather than trying to figure out the clues if you only have whatever it is, 24 hours.
Not even. Yeah, they had even less than 24 hours, right?
Yeah, they didn't even try to talk to the person in the house, which is what they normally do.
The person who knows the password is dead, and Luke can speak to dead people. So why not take the easy route, right? Yeah.
Then that wouldn't be a show. I mean, I like what they did with the scavenger hunt, but I don't know that it was necessary in that sense. That would have been my first plan of action, would have been to go to the house. Yeah. But I like that they had this whole scavenger. Look at that. That house is so great. Like, I want that house. But I like that I like the whole scavenger hunt aspect and the kind of danger that went along with that. It was different. So yeah, I like that part. But I agree with you. I think the best scenes was her talking to
that scene was terrible. The first, if you go back, I did think in the CGI in that the AI background in that scene was very
that you mean?
No, when you go back to Rita, like when she was in that room and they move all around her, I thought it really looked like a fake background that she was in. But this show doesn't have the budget that Doctor Who has. But yeah, the rest of the sets in the house, like this room that they spent a lot of time in, looked great. And the 2 actors, I don't know who the actress is who plays Rita. I don't know who the guy was who played the dead father. Was named like Conrad or Klaus or something like that. I'm looking. Or something else.
Magnus Clifford.
Okay, Magnus, whatever, totally different name. I'm so bad with names. These 2 actors really clicked well. They were great on screen together, and it was well written and really fun, right?
Yeah. And I like that for once Rita like experienced it, because I think a lot of times she doesn't believe that crap, you know,
Mhm.
she like does not believe in it. And then she had to spend the day with the ghost. But at the same time, as much as she should be scared of the ghost, she's having drinks with them. I mean, that's
Mhm.
pure Rita. It made sense. And
Yeah.
her name is Allison Brooks, is the actress's name that plays Rita. I do like her.
Thanks. She's
So
good. Yeah.
I opened that up on Internet Movie Database. Now I
Well,
lost my page.
and I was really surprised that they gave Rita a lot of depth in it. Like, she spends a lot of time talking to Magnus about how kids are so ungrateful and she never want to have kids, and you know, it's not something we all agree with. I agree with it. But not everybody agrees with her views on having children and why or why not. But like, it gave her a level of like characterization, and then they turned it on its head by the end of the episode.
Yeah, which I kind of liked because it wasn't expected. I definitely did not expect her to have a daughter.
She became a person. In this episode, she became a person.
She did. And she's usually just kind of the comic relief and,
Yep.
you know, in there. So yeah, I like that. We also have this character, which I thought was going to be more, I mean, she was important because she was the one that set up the traps, but I thought she was going to be like a part of the story, and she really wasn't. You only saw her for like a split second.
I wonder if they cut part of her scenes, because she kind of didn't have, she had that one scene, and then later Magnus says, "Oh, I have a person who sets it all up for me." They didn't really have to show her if you were going to have him explain that, right? It made me wonder if there was more to her.
There might have been. I did love this scene though, where they're all like, it's their father, and they're like, "Oh, my sister, my brother." Like, why not just say, you know, make up something that was a little more believable? I don't know. It was funny.
Oh, they said they were siblings. They said they were siblings, and there's like one black, one white, one.
Yeah,
So,
and they were so bad at the lie too. Like, it was just awful. Like, they didn't have to say that. They could have just made something a little believable. But it was funny.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that you knew something was going on as soon as we saw her, and especially because Lomax is like, I know everybody who works here, I don't know her, so maybe they should have been a little more worried.
Yeah,
and him having drinks there.
It was Magnus.
Yeah, and he wants to. You know, the other thing is too is he's really awful, isn't he? Like, I get that he wants to punish his daughter, but he also wants to punish random people she hires to figure it out. Like, oh, I'll just kill the people he hired. That's awful.
Even Rita, who's kind of an awful person, calls that out.
Yeah. Because it wasn't his daughter that was going to do it, and he knew his daughter. I mean, that was the whole point. He's like, oh, she'll hire somebody to do it. Yeah, so why kill them? That's not exactly fair. But yeah, he obviously hated his daughter, and in the end, kind of thankfully wrapped back around. But I was really surprised with when they the bear trap. Was in at the base there, and it's like was supposed to rip their hand off. Thankfully, they had moved. But yeah, I like that. It was very surprising, and I found this episode, like I said, I liked the whole scavenger hunt creepy vibe of it. I just thought it worked really well. I know I was like trying to figure out what the hell the clues meant and figured out. Although I don't know, when the phone doesn't work, you know there's a problem. But then whenever you have a clue that says wait until it's dark, you know you're running out of time. Why would you stand around and wait till it's dark? Like, there's not supposed to be anybody watching you, but they like literally followed the directions. That part I questioned their sanity, but
you know what also was nice? It has been a while since we saw the entire cast work on one case together and have full scenes together with all the three of them, but the four of them were together in some scenes.
I agree. That was nice to see. And then so they find that band tombstone there, and they almost get hit by an arrow. That one though seemed to almost deliberately not hit them the way they did. The other one seemed a little more dangerous. But yeah, they're like, you have to wait till it gets dark, and they're like, okay, let's hang around and wait till it gets dark. That I don't know. I just made me laugh.
I mean, it was nice also, Jamie, that they relied on Lomax's knowledge of the cemetery, right? Like her background with her parents owning a funeral home, pays off in this episode.
Yeah, it definitely does. And there's the clues there about finding the key, and they figured out it was Jesus, and they had to find a statue, and we're careful this time to get the key. And then Rita calls, I believe that's where Rita calls him, and she's like, hey, hey, they're kind of in trouble. I was surprised the guy told her to call him and tell and let her warn them, like they're already there. So I'm not sure what that accomplished, but it was cute. And at least he knew to go so he could save them. And then that is about them running out of air. The other thing that kind of I wondered about, just like about the waiting till dark, they know they're running out of air, but none of them are actually doing anything other than standing there complaining and freaking out. You have 50 minutes, quit like going and try to figure out how not to die. Because I figured there might have been an answer. I mean, I guess there wasn't an answer inside the tomb it ended up, but it made you think there was going to be, and they didn't really look.
Yeah.
So yeah, they don't have tons of time left. But there's Rita chilling, enjoying her time with this ghost.
I felt like if Magnus was alive, like they could have dated, right? Couldn't they have dated and been like a nice couple, those two?
Yeah, maybe that would have worked. Yeah. So he comes and Luke comes and finds them. I loved their explanation of how. Why am I getting a notification for recording? That's weird. It does that sometimes.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it does that, I think, because it's trying to upload it and it's not working. I like his explanation of how he found them, though. He's like, I can tell when there's dead around, so I just basically did the opposite and followed the live people, and he found them. It's kind of surprising, though, that it was so easy for him to get in, that he just opens the door,
Yeah.
So yeah, they that way can find the password. Now, of course, Rita's an idiot. This is where it's like, Rita, you were doing so well. And she has to be greedy and ignore the what Luke told her. I mean, Luke said, don't go to Tyler. He was trying to protect her.
Yeah.
And Rita does, as Rita always does, and completely ignores everything Luke says. And she goes to Tyler. However, I don't think Tyler hurt her. He just got the information from her about going to Luke's mother, was kind of the whole point of that plot, I guess.
Yeah. I'm getting sick of Tyler, I gotta say.
Yeah, it did seem like they're gonna, or at least the season finale is about the wrap up of that. But I do think it's gone on a little too long. They've threaded it a little too far. I didn't mind the storyline. I just think it's been not enough given to us at a time.
Yeah, it's gone too far with no information for us. We don't really know what his goal is. We don't know what he wants. We don't know why Seven, who is we know she's not Death because we've met Death. Seven is some sort of demon
or
boss. Yeah, we don't know anything about that, right?
You just know that he's evil because he has that crazy mustache. He's got to be evil. He doesn't have a villain mustache. So then he meets this woman and hears this whole story of how she waited too long for her love and they thought they had forever and then she died. So it's like this sad story, which the whole point is to connect to him talking to
Megan. You knew immediately that he was going to call Megan, right?
Yeah. Which I've said before, I don't know that I really love the two of them together, and I think it's been too long for them to wrap it back around. I don't know that I needed that, but it is what it is. I was just you knew at that point. And then, so they get into the computer, they find his will. And also, so the will basically said she got nothing, but he had a hidden will, I guess, in case he changed his mind.
I love how it's written in those old-timey Dracula font, right? Like my parents' will is just written in normal.
That's fine.
Times New Roman.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, he hid a will and he tells her the truth about like, well, there's this other will hidden that would be more fair. You can find it. So I guess if they have a second will, they can just pretend they didn't find the first one, I guess, and it overrides it.
I love that Rita talks him into like doing the kinder thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that it was Rita was surprising. And I like that.
Yeah. Because Rita says like, you have two wills and you could use that one will to like punish your daughter for the rest of her life and like, but you could also use the other will and like capture that one. He only has one nice memory of his daughter, which is kind of sad. And she's like, you could like do the right thing, capture that moment. And then she'd be in therapy for the next like 40 years. Right. She'd feel bad for the rest of her life, basically. Like there is a little like,
well, she wasn't a great person, to be fair, but she maybe didn't deserve. She was
a great person. Her father was not a great person. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? But and here's the most annoying part of the episode, right?
Yep, where he talks to Megan. And I did kind of like, though, where he's like, I know it's a bad time, and I'm just telling you I love you, and I'm going for it, and you can take it or leave it. So I kind of like the conversation in that sense. But yeah, I just kind of feel like it's a little too late for this relationship. I haven't been invested in it from the beginning. I mean,
Yes.
I like the character, like the actress. I have no problem with it. It doesn't, I don't really see it.
I think it might be a better story if she rejects him. I'd like to see her reject him and be like, sorry, it's too late, or sorry, whatever. He gives it a try, and then Luke has to deal with the consequences of it and maybe move on to another love interest, or like I could see reasons why Megan would say no.
Yeah.
And is it more important for Luke to have taken that shot than to actually be with her, storytelling wise?
Yeah, that's true. Well, the thing is too, is it's not so much that I even dislike them being together. It's that to know that he's this deeply in love with her, I don't know that I feel
that. Yeah, I don't know that I buy that.
And like they've been apart for so long. Not that you can't love somebody and not get over it. I'm not saying you can't, but I don't know. It just didn't play, I don't think, quite like they expected it to.
I also don't know that I want this show to be spending time on their relationship. Like Augie's relationship with his, what's her name, his girlfriend that he's been with, like that played into the story pretty well, but she didn't have a ton of screen time to distract us. And like, I'm not interested in watching a show about like these two falling in love and being together and like doing whatever, right? Like, so we had a lot of Susan. We've had some Susan and Crash lately. Yeah. I'm not sure where that's going. I like that one place where it went in this episode was like, have you told him he's a fireman and you set fires with your mind? Like, have you had that conversation yet? I like the conflict, right? Like as soon as there's no conflict, it ceases to be an interesting relationship. And if Megan and Luke get together and are happy, then can you just send her like off the screen to not be around anymore? Because a happy relationship is boring television.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So then we have the little bit with Rita and find out that she's really a mother. That was the whole point.
Oh yeah, that was awesome, right?
Yeah. It made her want to contact her own daughter, who she clearly has not talked to in a long time.
Yeah.
So, maybe she's trying to be a little bit better person.
Yeah.
And then we get Tyler, who breaks his way into Luke's mother's house because he's going to, I don't know if he's going to try to hop into her or if he's going to try to use her to get to Luke. Don't know yet. I guess we'll find out probably this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think what might be really boring about Tyler is that he goes around like acting like a mean guy, but like he's not like, okay, the whole first season when Megan's house was haunted, like her house was haunted. There were ghosts and stuff around. And when Luke's mother was like missing and he was talking to his dead mother, but it turned out it was that ghost, right? Or whatever. Like that was interesting. And for Tyler to just be like a bad rich guy who I guess is supernatural, but we don't see him actually like he only like
it's taken him all season to do anything. He had tried to get into Luke, but it didn't work.
Yeah. And then is this the episode or was it last week where he found grief was his way in, but then it didn't really work because Luke like snapped back at him, right? Luke's too powerful.
Yeah, I just hope now that you said that, I just hope he doesn't kill his mother to prove a point and get him.
I don't think that's the show we're watching.
No, I don't think it is either. But I think he's probably, my guess is he's probably gonna like hold her hostage or something until Luke comes to, have her call him and pretend to be okay, so he'll come check on her or whatever, and then he'll be there. I don't know. But at least we did get that little bit at the beginning of the episode about her, talking about their voices and things. And so that was something. But that is the end of the episode.
All right. So let's get on to Dead City.
Yes.
I also watched 2 of these. So you'll just remind me where this one started. So I cannot be talking about last week. So much happened in this episode that I'm like, are you kidding me? Right? Like,
Yeah.
I think part of my problem with this show is they've lost any way for the zombies to be that interesting. And so I feel like a lot of this is like, a lot of the zombie stuff now, I think, is the special effects crew being like, wouldn't this look cool? Let's have the zombies fighting, but they have this and that. And let's, and look, I get it. It's on those guys to put cool visuals out every week. But I think they have to drive it. The story doesn't drive it anymore.
I would agree with that. I did want to comment though. I don't think, because you were gone, I don't think we talked since you found out that Walker was not a Walker, right?
No, was that last week or this week when we found out?
That was the last week. It definitely wasn't this week. I think that was last week.
So not only is he human, but mustache guy, I forgot that guy's name. He's been keeping him chained up and forcing him to eat raw rats and treating him like he is a walker. Like, he might be the most despicable person on the entire show, right?
Yeah, I like him though. I think he's funny. I enjoy his character.
Yeah. And yet, you're right. Yes, and yet I don't think I can enjoy him anymore because the way he treated, that's torture. The way he tortured and abused and like treated a human being, like keeping him chained up only. Right, Jimmy? I mean, that's some horrible.
I don't know about it that way, but you're not wrong. He did. I mean, he kept him alive just to have him fight walkers and.
Well, and not even is that living? Like, it's not like he was like, hide out in this apartment here. Don't tell anyone you're alive. Here's a book to read while I'm gone. He's like, I'm chaining you by the neck. You can only eat these rats that you have to kill and eat raw. And like, I mean, it reminded me actually of on Daredevil when Kingpin was keeping Adam in the cell.
Okay, yeah, that's true. But that was last week. I just wanted to ask you, just kind of my point was to say, or not ask you, but mention when we had talked about it last time, you didn't know that yet. And
no,
I remember when we were talking about it, and like I was waiting for you to find out that he wasn't a walker, because at least it does make that storyline make somewhat more sense.
Somewhat.
When I had first, because of the fact that like we had about how is he attacking him like that? Why is he attacking him? I mean, he was attacking him the way he was because he could see what he was doing and he was a person.
Yeah,
but
like I almost lost my mind when I saw them pouring zombie guts on top of the zombie, and I'm like, that is not how to get a zombie to eat a zombie. That is how to get a zombie to not eat a person. Like, they were pouring zombie guts on top of the zombies as bait for each other, and I'm like, wait, that had to be
assumed it was human guts, but I guess it could.
It would have to be fresh human guts. Otherwise, why would a zombie go after that, right? There was so much about it that was
a problem of why they have fresh human guts laying around.
Right? It was making me insane. And then when Negan looks in his eyes and realizes that he's a human, and or even before that, he was onto him. Like, I do like, however we feel about Negan, the idea that Negan is the smartest guy in the room always plays well for me.
Yeah. I just, it made sense that it seemed like there was something off. I do like that. But see, I didn't remember that walkers ate animals too. I mean, I knew about the horse, but I was thinking they didn't, because I thought that Lori said I agreed with me after that. I think I gave them too much credit. Like, I thought maybe him showing him throwing the walker rats before we realized who it was like a clue that it was human and not a walker. But I guess walkers do eat rats and animals.
I guess.
So it doesn't really mean anything.
I think maybe walkers aren't good at catching little fast animals like bunnies and rats and shit, but they can catch a horse when they surround it and it can't get away, kind of, right? Like I don't think there's a lot of walkers catching rats in the streets of New York, but if you give them a rat, okay.
Yeah. Well, my point was, I was kind of wondering if the fact that he was feeding the walker rats before we knew it was a human was kind of foreshadowing
was foreshadowing it. Yeah.
I just kind of think that, I don't know that I'm going to give him that much credit. It might have just been that's the way it worked out. Yeah. But regardless, that isn't in this episode. I just wanted to comment on that since you weren't here to talk about it last time.
All right. This is the rat episode.
Yeah, this is. Do I have the right episode? No, I am sorry. I have the wrong episode up. No wonder why it's showing that picture. I'm like, that isn't the right one.
Is this the episode where Negan goes to meet the other faction who dress like Vikings? Maybe
No.
not Vikings. Was that last week when he goes to
This
see
is the
Christos?
one where the electric's knocked off at the beginning. Yeah. That's why I said that was the wrong one. This one is about where Negan goes. Okay, maybe you're not saying what I thought you were. Negan goes to talk to Kristoff and his people.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is,
Christos, maybe I think is his name.
Christos, maybe. Yeah, he goes to talk to him in this episode. But so we have this storyline where somebody knocks the power off and maybe makes it look like it is Christos's people. And I wanted to ask you what you thought, because I know when me and Lori talked about it, like I wasn't still 100% sure who did it. I don't think Christos did it. We kind of thought maybe Brugel's people did it to blame them, but I don't know. Like it wasn't explained of who actually turned the power
I mean,
off.
I didn't really. Hi, Alice. She's saying hi, SciFi.
Yeah.
At first I didn't really think about who did it, right? And then when they accused Christos, I was like, oh, that totally makes sense because they're mad that these other guys are palling up together. But I agree. Once Christos sort of dropped the act and we learned who he really was, I don't think he did. He doesn't want to play this game. He kind of wants to be left alone to go live in his place and he's been sucked into a bad situation. And I think it's possible that somebody set it up to look like they did it, right?
Yeah.
And could it be the Croats set it up to give him an excuse to kill all of them?
Maybe. I don't think
Would it be Negan? I don't know where Negan would have gotten the knife. Like, who would get that knife? Negan couldn't have done it. Because where would Negan get those knife?
I like Lori's idea that it could have been Bruegel, because if you think about the fact, and this part we didn't talk about, but I was thinking about now, Bruegel may have been afraid that even though Negan said he wasn't going to, he was going to go tell this guy that he was cheating him the whole time. So maybe he was trying to get rid of him a different way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing that makes sense, is that it's him, because I don't think Negan necessarily had access to do it or a reason to do it, but I definitely don't think it was Christos. But that's not necessarily the most important part of the episode. I just was curious what you think. Another scene I wanted to ask you about, and sorry, I just certain things we talked about that we hadn't figured out for sure. Wanted to ask you. When I watched this scene the first time, I took it a bit different than I did when I watched it again, and I wasn't sure if it's just something I imagined when I saw it the first time. He makes this, Pearlie makes this comment about if they go any further or to the bridge or something like that, that they're going the wrong direction, something like that. I forget exactly what he said.
Yeah.
I thought when I saw this the first time that Maggie was leading them the wrong direction and or in circles or a long way around, because she did not want Herschel to tell them they were coming, and she was afraid that he was going to sneak and tell them. So she was kind of like tricking him. And he's like, if we go any farther, we're like too far off.
Oh, no.
And I don't know if I just saw that in my head and thought it, because after I was like, I don't know that made sense, because why would she have trusted Pearlie enough to tell him that her son may be on the other side?
Because we had an earlier scene where they're going through the park and he says, we have to go this way. Maggie says, how do you know? He says, I grew up in New York City. My brother and I played in Central Park all the time. We used to cut school. We used to come to Central Park. Pearlie knows Central Park. And so that's why he says, if we go this way, we've gone too far. Because he knows Central Park, but it's so overgrown and crazy now that he can't really be sure, I guess.
Okay. Then that's just the way I took it. Because I really honestly thought like she was taking him the long way around and kind of falling.
She doesn't know. I took it. She doesn't know the park. He knows the park, but it's been like 25 years, 20 years of the park not being maintained. And and that's what I think that's what he meant. If we go this way, we've gone too far, because he knows the park, or he remembers the park from he's trying to remember from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I had an experience this past weekend where my dad and I went back to New York City to his old neighborhood, and he was like, I'll tell you how to drive, go this way. And he like totally was wrong, because he hasn't lived in that neighborhood for 57 years, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Hold on, I'm getting my thing. So anyway, there's a scene they lie to each other, basically. They're still not admitting the truth there.
I'm liking Herschel less this episode.
You what?
I was sympathetic to Herschel for a while, and in this episode, I'm less sympathetic to this little
Yeah, I that's one of the things we talk about is like, I thought it was going to turn out that she was brainwashing him or was torturing him or something. But so far it seems like he's just a brat because he enjoyed talking to her. And I don't really buy that. I have a problem.
I think she brainwashed him just without torturing him. She didn't have to harm him. I think she brainwashed him for sure.
But see, that's what, to me, if that's the case, they haven't shown enough to make me feel that way. That's why we keep saying we're waiting to see if they show the flashback of like what happened with the whole toe, because I still think maybe she was like, you have to sacrifice a part of yourself to our cause or something. And I still wonder if that's going to be something.
I mean, I think it's maybe not that hard to brainwash a sullen teenager, and you can just look at the internet for evidence of that, right?
Yeah, I try to think when he does dumb things that he is a teenager, so I can,
Yeah. And he's a very angry teenager.
He is a very, very angry teenager. So this whole idea is he comes in to tell them about the power, and she's pissed, and he's on her bad list. So she sends Negan, and he wants to go with him to see Christos, and she's like,
Croat.
No,
you mean
the Croat? Sorry, the Croat wants to go with Negan. And the Dom was like, no, you're going to clean up the mess, because she's blaming him for, everything else. So, and then we have the other storyline going on with.
This is the part that I hate. This is the part that makes me hate this show.
Yeah, that's why I was happy they finally killed her. Her character. I mean, she was supposed to be annoying. Nothing against the actors, but the character was just so annoying. And
but she also made no sense. She also made no sense.
Decisions. And the fact of the matter is, both of her bosses like never agreed with her, and they should be listening to him. He's above her in their army structure or whatever, but yet he's making choices. So she's, throwing him in her locked room in the jail until they do what she wants, which is pretty much what she's done through the whole thing. I'll kill you if you don't do what I say.
She's like, the law. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is there any law? Shut up.
Yeah. I don't like that Ginny is the one that
I'm liking Ginny less and less. Ginny is becoming a less likable character. And the idea that Ginny has a vendetta against Negan for killing her father, I guess she's the opposite of Herschel, who does not have a vendetta against Negan for killing his father. And even Maggie has dropped her vendetta. And Muncher, AJ doesn't watch this show. He hates the entire franchise, and so he just sits and laughs quietly while we cover this show.
Yeah, yeah, very true. So, but yeah, she basically threatens them to get what she wants, and without going through the whole episode, her plan is that Maggie will tell Negan that they surrender, and then when they come, she can attack them. And I don't know. Her plan makes no sense. Let's just put it that way.
The show makes no sense.
A lot of times now. Let's see. There's the whole conversation they have about.
They get arrested. They get locked up because, I think this is what I might have texted you at this point. Sometimes I text Jamie while I'm watching it. I'm like, what is going on? Why are they doing this?
Yes, which there's a lot of that why. So then we have what I think was one of the main story. Yes, he's snickering from distance. You're right. I think that this was one of the main plot points, and this is the idea that Negan finds out after Christos sort of threatens him with his bat and everything. He finds out that he is trying to protect the people there, that there's women and children at this place, and that's why he does not want to play ball and join their group.
They're basically just a colony of people who just want to be left alone to live, right?
Yeah, and Negan's kind of like, okay, I get it. He basically says, I mean, he doesn't outright say, but he basically implies he has family. He's like, I know what you're doing. And he says, if you don't go along with them, they're going to cause problems for you later, that you're better off doing what they want, partnering up with them, and then you'll get to make choices and you can control a lot of things. That's pretty much what he says, and talks the guy into it. And I think Negan in this instance is really trying to help the guy.
Yeah. I think this was like the good side of Negan here.
Yeah, definitely. And then meanwhile, I love how Maggie locks him back up though. Again, they're like, we're not going to go with you. And she's
can
like,
I talk to you? Oh, sorry. Bye.
And then she just slams him back in there. So that part was funny. So he talks him into helping them. Everything is all great and going to go well until dumbass Croat does his thing and clearly is not listening. Dama told him not to come, but he thinks he knows everything. So he comes to take care of the problem that he foresees that isn't actually there. And, Negan, to his credit, tries to be like, we fixed it. It's fine. And Crowd's like, no, I poisoned them all. They're all going to die. And it's too late. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Why do you think the Crow did this? I think he's threatened by Negan, and it's like a dick measuring contest, and he was trying to have a show of power because Negan has shown him up in negotiations like twice already in front of the Dama.
Yeah, I think he wanted to fix the problem and then be to her like, look what I did. And then it backfired and he's like, oh shit, he messed up. And then he tells him after, we also had the conversation, the fact that he's like, I let the women and children live, but you killed the dogs for no good reason. Not that there's ever a good reason, but he killed the poor dogs.
But he left these women and children with no men, which I'm not saying that women need men to protect them, but they don't have part of their colony to help raise these children and protect them now. The men are.
That's even true, though. I felt like he just said it to Negan. I don't really think he let anybody live.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good point, Jamie. I think you might be right. He might have gassed the women and children also. And again,
I highly doubt he pulled them out of there first. They would have.
Not only is Negan against the killing of children, but Negan, from the day we met him, feels that humans are a resource, right? Yeah. And why kill them if you can bring them to your side?
Yeah, and I think that he just said that to me. Yeah, I don't, because he would have had to sneak them out there without that group knowing it. I just don't think that makes sense.
And yes, Muncher, they gassed the dogs also. Those two beautiful German Shepherds are dead. Yes.
Yes, those were cute dogs. So Negan's pissed, and he tells him he'll help him take care of it.
And this sets up probably, Jamie, you're going to get into it, but the best sequence of the entire show, probably for 2 seasons. I love what happens in the rest of this episode.
Okay.
Go ahead with with Negan. Go ahead with crybaby Herschel right now.
Okay, I was going to say, I didn't think you cared about this thing. No. Yeah, the main thing about here is that she asked him, she's like, I forget what she says, but basically implies that maybe Negan broke her heart or something like that.
She being who?
Maggie. That's why she wants to kill Negan.
She said, why does Maggie hate Negan? Did he break her heart? No, he killed her.
And she's like, no, he killed my father. And but anyway, at this point, Maggie sneaks up on Navarez, and she almost makes it until Ginny, little brat, who really
I hate Ginny.
Ginny points the gun at Herschel and is like staying on Navarez's side because she seems to think that Navarez will actually save Negan for her to kill her. And this is part of why she's been nasty to Maggie. But that scene is neither here nor there because that's not the important part. The important part with Negan, I have really been enjoying, and maybe this is what you're talking about. I have really liked how Negan is constantly pitting them against each other and like, why do you let her treat you like that? She treats you like, like you're nothing. She treats you worse than the rat. Because that's what made this guy, to begin with, in all honesty, try to take care of himself. It caused this issue. Big boo-boo.
I had texted you earlier, Jamie, I was watching this, and I said, why is everyone afraid of the Dama? She's just an old lady. Yeah. Why doesn't anybody kill her, right?
Yeah, I do agree with that.
And then in this scene where Negan says, like, oh, by the way, he's like, it's cool that you gassed all those women and children. I don't care. But the Dama's a total bitch. Like, I'll back you up because she treats you really badly. He's like, I don't like how she treats you. She treats you worse than a rat. She treats me worse than the rat. She loves that rat, right? And I thought it was really transparent. I thought it was really obvious what Negan was trying to do, and yet the Croat falls.
Stupid to see it. Yeah, but I like that. I like that Negan's the one orchestrating this whole thing. And obviously she's not happy with what he did. But that's more about that whole thing with I forget the woman.
This whole part was so dumb. These people didn't need to be in it.
Yeah, it isn't really important to the story. But yeah,
Jamie, I do not believe that the people of New York City would evolve in this way.
I agree with you. But like I said, I do like the whole thing where he's getting them mad at each other, and it's totally working. His plan, even though it shouldn't, it's working. Then we have this part to me makes even less sense because Navarez is like, okay, you don't listen to me, I'm going to kill you, which Pearlie, well, she's going to kill Pearlie too, but Armstrong has said to her, Pearlie Armstrong, sorry, sometimes I call him Pearlie, sometimes I call him Armstrong, has said to her multiple times, they need Maggie. Negan will only listen to Maggie. And she's like, I don't care. I know everything. I'm going to kill Maggie, because she thinks she knows everything. He's her leader, but yet she's overthrown him, even though she has no reason to be able to do that. She's overthrown him.
And for us as viewers, there is zero chance that Maggie will die.
Yes.
Zero chance, right?
Yeah. I did think this scene was done well, though. Like, it was tense. Yes, you're right. She has plot armor. She's not going to die. But I still thought it was tense, and the way they did it, I thought was done well. And thankfully, Ginny does finally get a brain and help her, although it may be too late.
I did think that young actress did kind of a good job when she's looking at Maggie being hanged, and she's kind of like, holy shit, like, what have I done? Maggie's being killed.
Like, this did not go to the point I thought it was going to go through.
I want to kill Negan, but I don't want to kill Maggie and Herschel.
Yeah. So yeah, she finally sees the error of her ways. And then we've got these people who stand around and moan and let themselves be killed. I feel like everybody has a sense of preserving your own life. Like, I don't even know if it's possible for you to just stand there and die and not try to not die. Like that many people, I don't know. I have a problem believing they would just stand there and let themselves.
When they started like humming, they go hum hum. I thought, they're calling the zombies to come kill the Navarro and her Samoan actors. That'd be great. But then they just get eaten themselves. What?
Yeah, they just all get eaten. So yeah, basically Ginny saves Maggie so she doesn't get hung, because she gets hung for a second, but she saves her. Yeah. And then Navarez, who's like the worst person ever, actually uses Herschel as a human shield. Like, I know she doesn't like Maggie, but like, to use a kid as a human shield is pretty damn low. But she gets her comeuppance when Roxana, which it shows here, is the one.
Roxana gets her. Yeah.
The one that she just killed, a few minutes ago. She comes and bites her and takes her down, and it's over. And of
There's
course,
a lesson there. If you hang someone, don't just toss their body to the side. Put them down so they don't come back as a zombie and bite you.
Yep. That would be a good plan. I think she was too distracted by all the humming, to be honest. She was busy being mad with the humming and not listening. Yeah. But yeah, and then we find out later. Well, we'll talk about that when we get to that. So then we have the Dama finds her dead rat. Now, the audience knows that there's a 99% chance that Negan did it and is blaming him. But obviously she does not pick up on this, and she thinks that Croat did it.
She was pretty mean to the Croat the last time she talked to him. And then she was like, he picked out that nice suit, and she's like, take off that suit, you look stupid. And she yelled at him. And
which, by the way, I like that suit. We also had that conversation. That was a cool suit. Yeah. I like that.
And he yelled at her and was like, you're like,
they were fighting. So she has reason, I guess, to believe it. But we know it.
I knew Negan did it, and it was genius, right?
Yeah, it was. And that's why I said I love how he's playing both of them. So Ginny, I think you weren't supposed to be sure if it's a bite or a stab, but if you look.
Oh no, she got bumped into that stick. So a zombie pushed her, and there was a tree branch that she got impaled on.
Okay, so that to me wasn't apparent, because that looks like a bite. I thought she got bit the way that walker got pushed into her.
It was very obvious to me in the earlier scene where the humming starts and the fights break out. Like she got backed up onto a stick when a zombie was trying to get her, and she almost died. And I think it's a stick or a piece of wood or a piece of metal or something. Yeah, in fact, I thought she was impaled on it at first. I'm like, oh, she just died. But then it's just a flesh wound.
That's interesting, because to me that looks like teeth marks.
Well, it looks like kind of like actual teeth, actually, doesn't it? In a way.
Yeah. To me, I kind of wonder if it's going to end up a bite. I'm not saying you're wrong with what you said. The way they did it, it might have been that way. But I have a feeling it's going to end up being a bit.
I think it's a branch.
We shall see. But anyway, they're sitting there when Bruegel. Am I still zoomed in? That it looks like that. That Bruegel comes knocking. And how he got there and got rid of all the walkers and everything and knew what was going on, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we've kind of had a conversation that perhaps Negan told him to go to them. I don't know. I mean, we don't really know what Negan whispered to him, other than I know what you're doing with the fake walker. So yeah, I don't know. We don't know yet, but he basically is acting like he's going to help him, and he's like, "I'm here for."
Why does everyone in New York dress like they're from a Tim Burton film?
I don't know, but I love how he like has kind of incorporated the wealth and everything, and he still thinks he's this guy. I don't know. I like his character.
I don't dislike him. I just feel like there's a lot of affectation going on in New York City, which look, many people would say right now there's a lot of affectation going on in New York City.
Sure. So then we have Croat, who goes to see the Dama, and she blames him for the rat, and he's like, I have no clue what you're talking. Well, he does know what she's talking about because he steps on it, I think, at one point.
He came to apologize, and
he came to apologize. And he's like, "You killed my rat. You just want to be in charge." Blah blah blah. And she starts screaming at him. And he asked him, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead. He
actually yells back and is like, well, basically says what Negan says. You treat me bad, and I've done everything for you.
And she says, "You're nothing without me." And he says, "No, you're nothing without me. What are you talking about?" And he's not wrong, right?
He's not. And then she bites him. And Lori picked up something I did not notice. She bites him after he calls her something Empress. I forget exactly what he says, but that might be a reference. Like, I don't know that he said it for that reason, knowing it. But remember the whole thing about that when she wrote the was the critic of the play, and that guy wrote the play that. Because it seemed like that play was supposed to be making fun of her, and it was called The Little Empress or something to that effect.
Yeah, it was called Little Empress, and it was.
Yeah, so this triggered her, and that's why she bit him, and because she's totally insane. But she bit him, and then I don't know exactly how it caught on fire. One of them knocked something over.
They knocked over a candle or a lamp or something.
Yeah, like, help me, people. I need you.
And he leaves her there. I do not like the Croat as a character. I feel like, and nothing against the actor who I know. I can
He's a really good actor. He's in a lot of things.
His name is Ivan Zelnik. I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Zeljko Ivanek. Yeah, I don't know how to say it either.
Zeljko Ivanek. He's a great actor. He's been in a ton of shows that we love. I just don't like the Croat. I don't like how he's written. I don't like how he's. I did kind of love how Bruegel was like making fun of his accent, and I'm like, are you trying to get killed?
Don't do that. That's not something you do.
But I don't. I think the character is a little over the top, and is like and a little cartoonish. I don't like. Of course, it's based on a comic. I don't like the character. I do like the actor, but this was a great scene. I love how he allowed himself to be manipulated. I love how he finally rose up against the Dama, who I said to you, could somebody please kill her? She's a little old lady.
Right? Oh, she's gonna die. Just keep watching.
Like, this was great. This was great. Like, and this was very. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, do you think though he purposely let her die? I felt almost like he was in shock and didn't know what to do, and he kind of ran away from the situation.
Oh no, I think he let her die. I think he was like,
let her die on purpose. Okay,
I was a bitch to me for so long, and I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of almost took it like he didn't like know what, like he was like usual, didn't know how to deal with it. And he just sort of was like, well, he just left her there. But I think it'll be interesting to see what happens after.
This is classic Walking Dead. Whether you watch Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, Dead City, Daryl Dixon, whenever any of our main characters show up and they meet new people, they destroy their community and civilization.
Yes,
which is what Negan has done. Negan has showed up, and
this time they were villains; they deserved it. But there's him scraping the rat guts off his shoe.
Oh yeah,
so we know now without a doubt, if we had any doubt, that Negan did it.
That was great. I feel like the things that we love about Negan and hate about Negan were brought back in this episode finally, and I kind of get like this show a little more, and this show bothers me a lot. This part was great.
It's still got some bad writing, not gonna lie, but yeah, I liked this episode, and I liked that they killed Dama. I liked the way they did it, and I said I have liked from the beginning the way Negan has been orchestrating them against each other.
That's the best part.
Yeah. So yeah, a little bit better episode. And yeah, we'll see what happens next week after he finds out she's dead.
Yeah,
because he doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, taken out by a candle. Who'd have thought, right?
Yep.
All right. So that is the end of Dead City. I think I've talked about it. And if anybody does want to see a deeper dive into the episode, Lori and I had our show on Sunday that you can still live stream that from
and you have no cranky pants Karen complaining.
Yeah, I have no cranky. But that show, our Dead City show, is on Sunday nights now at 11 p.m. and our watch party is at 10. And I'm also, because I always forget, going to put our Discord link in the chat. If you haven't joined our Discord, please make sure you do, because it has a list of our schedules and everything else for all our watch parties. And if you want to chat with us and all that great stuff. But yeah, we have Dead City on Sunday, on Mondays at midnight, 11:59 p.m. So it's Monday night, not Tuesday night. We have the Midnight Murderbot. There we go. For Murderbot. And then of course, starting this Thursday again at 11, we have the Librarians, the next chapter, and the Illustrious live stream. So yeah, and Scarlett is back this week. Sorry.
Okay. So before we do Murderbot, welcome AJ back to the screen.
From quietly snickering off screen.
Yeah.
I should, maybe I should stay on screen so you guys can. You may not hear me, but you can see me laughing.
That would be great.
And actually, when you said that, Karen, I actually laughed. So.
Yeah.
So before we jump into the story of getting to Murderbot, I just want to tell you guys that I went to see Mission Impossible last night. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet.
I've seen, I think, one Mission Impossible, so I'm not the person.
The last one I saw was Mission Impossible 3.
So those of you who are regular listeners to our show might recall that I watched all 7 movies over a period of like a week and a half in preparation for this. Some I had seen, some I hadn't. I went to see Mission Impossible last night. Jamie Trammell Tyler. Trammell, what's his name? Trammell.
Now that you said that, I'm going to forget his last name. But yes, Trammell from Severance.
Trammell from Severance is in it. He's fantastic in it. He has a small but great part. There's all sorts of great actors in it. Trammell Tillman. He has a small but pivotal role, as many people do. So you guys aren't into MI, so I don't have to recap it that much. I would say you don't go to Mission Impossible for the plot and the dialogue. 50% of it probably is exposition, because you have no clue what's happening at any given time. It's about an evil AI that's trying to annihilate humanity. Nobody had more fun on this movie than Isai Morales, who plays the heavy. He's the bad guy. He chews every piece of scenery that comes near him. I had a good time. I went to it. Also, Tom Cruise has not one, but 2 extended action scenes wearing nothing but boxer briefs. And I thought, gee, Tom Cruise, you've made like 7 of these movies and you're always wearing a shirt and a tie. And suddenly at the end, you do all these like scenes with no shirt on. I haven't seen Tom Cruise without a shirt on since like Top Gun. I guess part of it is like you get attacked in your underwear and you got to fight a guy and you have nothing, right? You have no, like, I've seen Tom Cruise strangle a guy with his necktie or kill him with a cufflink or whatever, and he's got nothing because he's only in his tidy blackies. Anyway, I saw that. I caught up on a bunch of stuff this week, and now I watched Murderbot. So I watched 2 episodes. Is it a half hour a week or is it 2 hours? 2 of them.
It's half hour every week.
A half hour every week.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not even a half hour. It's 26 minutes.
Yeah.
I watched both of them. I'm caught up.
Okay, cool.
Let's do it.
Before we do, Muncher wants to know about your cat.
Oh, that was my
former
cat. That was my cat, Speedy.
Speedy.
Speedy's not with us anymore. Speedy was like about 18 when she died a couple years ago, but that is Speedy, and I took her picture and her eyes glowed like that, and she's my avatar, my little Speedy. My roommate for a long time. So yeah, that's Speedy. So right now, Muncher, I have a turtle. Sometimes can you guys hear the water trickling? You never can hear the water trickling in the turtle tank, right? I have a turtle named Buddy. He does not make an appearance.
Yeah. And my dog is generally quiet when they're on the show, and AJ's is usually the one that barks. My dog.
Prairie barks once in a while.
Unless I remember to put her in the room, then we're good.
Yep. All right, I'll come back on the screen.
Right.
Okay, Murderbot. So I have watched both of them back to back, and so this was both of these were about. They've gone to the other place to see what happened over there, right?
Yeah, finally. And I don't have my pictures are really long story, but the pictures are really bad for this one.
That's the skin. That's the skin.
Yeah, that's the skin. Yeah, we get this opening scene with them showing how they make these androids. I don't know that we needed it, but I kind of liked it because it's weird and it's, I don't know, creepy and had some fun lines in there with the.
I kind of like they did show the poor production quality, right? There's a lack of pride in their work in this facility.
Yeah, well, they're indentured servants, so that's why they don't really care all that much.
Yeah,
but yeah, did we really need these scenes? No, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's creepy, it's kind of cool, so it's an interesting. AJ barks. Yes, AJ's doing the barking. But anyway, yeah, so that was that whole opening scene there. So I don't know, Karen, since we haven't really heard from you, and you've seen a couple of them before you've been here. What do you think about the show? I mean, do you like it better now? Actually, I should ask both of you that, or do you still not really like it?
I keep coming back to. I was telling a friend of mine about the show, and I came back to when I was last here 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Is this a comedy?" But I just don't get it. And you were like, "Yeah, Karen, I think it's supposed to be funny, but you don't get it." I have told you guys before that the 30-minute comedy is not my favorite television format. And I'm just not, comedies are just not mostly my thing. And I guess I'm not getting a ton of laughs out of this. And so it's hard to rely on the drama, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I usually tend to not like comedies either, especially like a sitcom, but I don't know. I guess because it's like a sci-fi. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I think his internal monologue is funny. That's what I enjoy is him, the things he says against the humans, and the fact that he's always into watching his soap operas and doesn't care about anything.
I mean, what about you, AJ?
Without the internal monologue, this show is very boring.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't.
Honestly, I'm not feeling the show at all. I mean, I like his inner monologue, but if I never saw the show again, I would forget about it 5 minutes later.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, I'm not
sure.
sure.
It's funny, it's half an hour a week to do on the show, so I'll keep watching it while we're doing it on the podcast. But I mean, I just watched the episode today. I was like, oh shit, I gotta watch Murderbot. So.
Yeah.
Oh, 22 minutes. So the internal monologue that you both have mentioned, yeah, it is sort of the funny part. I mean, do I laugh out loud? No, but I do kind of enjoy his complete superiority to humans. And some of it is actually moral superiority, which is funny because he has none. Most of it is just looking down on them. And I do enjoy John Cho in the YouTube sequences, the soap opera sequences, right?
Now, Galaxy. Now that you said that, I can't remember the name of
Sanctuary Moon, right? This robot, he gets so bored with the humans that he tunes out and just runs like soap operas in his head. And I do love Sanctuary Moon. It's John Cho and the other guy. They're two like big stars.
One from the Avengers that I can never remember his name. Clark Gregg.
Clark Gregg.
Okay.
Clark Gregg. Yeah. But yeah, that's a big part of the, like, his inner monologue is much of the story because it's a bunch of inept humans and they're comedic, but that only goes so far. Like people that are incompetent, that's funny only for so long, right?
Well, in this episode, we at least finally figure out what had been going on.
Oh, yeah.
When he gets to Delta, what is it? The Delta Fall, I think the name of the group is. Anyway, sorry, these pictures are so awful.
No, that's all you get from them, right?
He had been fighting with that other sec unit at the end of the episode. We didn't know for sure if it was a person. Now we know it is a robot in there. But that the whole basic gist is that it is installing combat override modules in these robots to make them attack their people. For what purpose isn't 100% clear yet, but it wanted him to kill them. That's why it didn't attack them. It wanted
our sec unit.
Yeah, our sec unit.
Skarsgård to kill all those people. So it would look like he went rogue when really they had basically put a chip in his head, kind of.
Yeah.
To make him do it.
Right. And through the episode, he can't do anything because he's basically knocked out because the guy started overwriting his programming. He's able to sing the theme because he does say that like all the memories in the forefront of his mind that what he usually thinks about. So that's why he's thinking about the soap opera again. But he starts singing, he distracts them, he punches them, they fight. It's good. I mean, it's a good fight sequence. And then Mensa comes in, who decides, even though she shouldn't, even though he told her to leave, she risks her life to come in to save him because to her, he's a member of the team. And she brings this huge drill and she impales the guy with it as he almost... I love, too, how he's like, it's interesting because obviously he's not human, but he talks about like it feels like he's floating above his body because he can't turn off the pain sensors. And they show that, which is kind of interesting. But the guy gets the chip in. It just hasn't quite finished working all the way. Like he still has most of his faculties and he fights the guy. I'm trying to get to where she stabs him. That's here somewhere. She comes, there it is. There's that big drill. She stabs him with the drill. And that's when you know he's a robot because he bleeds blue. And she gets him out of there. And he is meanwhile not knowing what's going on. I think it's funny. He keeps telling her, these pictures are so crap. He keeps telling her that when she touches me, he's like, no touching. And he's like, this has to be reported or whatever. He's just trying to stop what is happening and is not able to express what's happening. He tries to take it out of his neck. He can't do it physically. Like it won't let him. And meanwhile, the other ones are upset. She's risking her life. I love how Rathi goes out with the gun. He doesn't know how to shoot the gun, doesn't know how to turn the safety off the gun, but he's the one that rushes out and he's calling him back, asking how to use the gun.
So let's ask about that. He does that because he thinks
he wants to impress them, I think.
Yes, he wants to impress them, right? He thinks the other people, I mean, part of this is that they're inept and out of their depth and shouldn't be there, but he wants to impress them and he wants to be the brave guy to go out there and do it, right? Even though he's clueless. Yeah. And we saw in the last episode that he was too hungover to go to gun training and he has
no clue what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't shoot himself with the gun, to be honest.
Yeah. He's making a gesture.
Yeah, he's trying. And I do also like, I like the scene whenever Pingley is talking to Arata and they're like, well, if he dies, we won't have what she said, like, we'll be out of the contract. And then they're like, well, I don't really want him to die. They just clearly don't want to continue the sex throuple they have. But so he goes out and risks his life. And then they're trying. Now, I do like we get to see Alexander Skarsgård in part of Sanctuary.
Yeah.
And his crazy ass hair, which I love. That's great.
I mean, you guys, that's the show I want them to make. I would watch.
Yeah, I would too.
It reminds me of, what's the name of that show? And now I'm blanking on the name of it, but it's a Hulu show. Hulu had picked it up after the network dropped it. I think it's actually
Orville.
Back. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Orville. So yeah, I'd watch that too. It was pretty cool. But he has now entered his soap opera, and he thinks she's still there. He's talking to her about it, and she has no clue.
Who's her?
Mensa. And I don't know if I skipped the pic. I'm trying to see where the picture is. One of these pictures. Yeah, Mensa's actually there. I didn't notice that until I went back through the pictures. That's not the best picture, but she is in the... see, that one's cropping it off.
If you say so. I'll believe you.
No, it is her. It's just these pictures are so bad. It's really hard to see. I could not get it to download to take good captures. But so he's going out and they're trying to figure out what to do there. He can't even open the door. That's the other thing. He can't even get the door open. And they come crashing through the side of the building, and that's how they get out. And he's acts like he's gonna get him, but
he didn't even know how to work the gun. He had
doesn't
no
even know how to work the gun. No, but the other sec unit comes and shoots him. Does not kill him again because he wants our sec unit to kill them. And I think it's Ping Li has the idea to. He's starting to see them as targets. Like his programming is being overridden. He's going to kill them soon. But that's right. I had these pictures out of order. I forgot I did.
Sorry.
See, the thing is, they're a different ratio than the other pictures. That's why they're not showing right. But they come down and squash him. You can kind of see it there. They
bring the hopper and squish him.
Yeah, they squish him. Yeah, and bring him up in the air and drop him and stuff. And that's really funny. I like that, like how they did it. I don't know whether it's dead or not, but it was cool. But Sec Unit knows that his programming is screwed and that he's going to end up killing him. So he tells them they have to kill him. And when they refuse to, he shoots himself.
And that's the end.
Yeah, and that's the end. And I really like that he's fine. I mean, we know now for sure. I mean, he is putting them above himself. He kills himself. Well,
really? Do you think that's he did? I think that's his programming. The new programming made him do it.
The new programming is telling him to kill them. That's why it says target.
Yeah.
Even though you can sort of not read it there. It says target acquired.
I don't believe that he has affection for them or really. Okay, he might have a little affection. I don't think he's in a place where he would sacrifice himself for them. I think there has to be a programming reason why he'd do that. I don't think Sec Unit would. So remember when they first landed on the planet and Sec Unit's like, I should kill them all and I'd be fine. And he's like, oh, wait, but then I could never get off this planet. No one ever come here. I'd be stuck here, right? Remember that? He considered killing them. I don't think he likes them. I don't think so why would he, I'm asking, why would he sacrifice himself for them to live?
I think he cares about them. I think that he's putting them before him and that's kind of the point. He's becoming human. I mean, he's not human at all, but he's getting humanity. I mean, I think
you don't think his programming required that? You think he chose that?
No, I think he chose it because you can tell from what it says on the screen, the programming is telling him to shoot her and he shot himself to stop it because he knew she wouldn't kill him. That's definitely how I took it.
Okay. AJ? Do you not care?
He shot himself so he wouldn't kill them, but
is there an ulterior motive as well?
Why? I don't know.
But I mean that's what it.
So he shot himself so he wouldn't kill them. Does he have a personal motive for that? Like it was okay. Was it truly altruistic? Like I don't want to kill them. Let me save them. Because he has only disdain for them. He's never expressed really any, except for Mensa. So Mensa went out of her way to save him in this episode, right? Like Mensa, he's like, you all go home. I'm the Sec Unit. Go home. I'll take care of it. And Mensa defies him and comes and she saves his life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he even says that's why he didn't tell them right away what to do because he knew she wouldn't shoot him. So,
right.
Yeah.
Which he communicated as like, I know you're weak. You humans have weaknesses. You wouldn't shoot them, right? Yeah. Not like you like me. I like you. I mean, obviously, the show is about him becoming more human. That's clearly what this is about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Does he have? I know Muncher says. I think that's its sarcasm. I'm not sure that he says he loves him. Yeah. I don't know if it's so much affection is more like a duty, but I don't think it's programming. I think he's decided that he's all in and
right. It's kind of like in the first episode when he saves the doctor from the worm.
Yeah, like it's like the right thing to do. I don't think
that's his programming. His programming made him save the doctor from the worm. Don't you think?
Yeah, but his programming.
No, because his programming is he hacked his programming. It's not it's off.
Yeah, that's why when they tell him to do something, he has to remember to do it. And like when they say, look at me, he's like, I don't know.
Okay, but he's not a human. He's not a human being. So while he dismantled the safeties of his programming, he still is a robot. He's not a human.
Still a robot. No, yeah, he is still a robot. Although they're kind of sort of. I mean, they have human DNA in them. They've explained that.
Okay, so, they don't have a human brain. They don't have human brain
because of no, I know. I'm kind of thinking like a Westworld type thing. I mean, they're not human either, but they still, I mean, they still can have.
Don't go. We're not going there.
No, we're not. I'm just saying. I think he chose to save them. does he have an ulterior motive? I don't know. We might find out he did, but I think he wanted to protect them. Whether that's because he cares about him or he just thinks that's what he's supposed to do, I don't know. But
yeah, I mean that's all he knows. He's always been supposed to do that. Programming wise, he had to do that. Without your programming, it's still maybe his goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think he likes them, though. I mean, I think he has disdain for them as well, but I think
I don't like them. They're not likable. Mensa's becoming, she's okay, but they're mostly like they're clueless. They're annoying. They're not. I mean, they're comedic, right? They're comedic, and to me, I don't think they're funny. So they're dopey, out of their league. They should all probably die soon. But Mensa is pretty competent.
Yeah, she saved him. So, I don't know. I think that they're like knowing that there's like a reason. I mean, we don't know what the reason is yet, but like obviously there's somebody behind this robot. That robot didn't decide to come and
someone's trying to wipe them out. Yeah,
so there's a reason that they're trying to wipe them out, and it's not just about wiping them out; it's about making them think the robots went rogue. So I think there's something there in that storyline that to me interests me in finding out.
Well, yeah, there's a human element to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, I would say I'm happy to watch the show because it's on our podcast, and I'll keep watching it, and it's inoffensive. But if we were not covering it, I would stop watching this show. I don't think
me too.
Fine. You don't even have to keep watching if you don't want to. I mean,
it's only half an hour a week, and I'm surprised because most things I've watched on Apple, most of my Apple shows are shows that I really like, and this is my first Apple dud. No, I haven't watched. There are shows I don't watch because I know, like, I haven't watched Ted Lasso because I know I won't like it, so I don't watch it.
Ted Lasso is really good.
You know, I'm not going to like Ted Lasso.
Okay, I'm just saying. I really like Ted Lasso.
I don't know. I think it's
you know what I couldn't.
But...
You know what I couldn't get into on Apple, and everybody raves about it, is Shrinking. I watched 4 episodes, and I just couldn't. I wasn't feeling it at all, and it has Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I don't know. Well,
Murderbot, half an hour a week, I can watch it, and maybe
that's what I'm saying. Half an hour a week, yeah, whatever.
That's not hard.
Yeah, half an hour a week about robots is better than an hour a week about some other stuff, right?
Sure.
Fair enough.
But like I was going to say, if you do want to see the deeper dive and more,
you guys are deep diving this show.
Well, not so much. I mean, there's not a lot to go deep into.
I was going to say, I don't know what you're diving into.
We're reviewing it and we're going, recapping, going to like we do our other shows. That's on Monday nights at 11:59, midnight, but Monday night. With me and Scarlett, and that's up from this week. You can still stream it.
And no cranky Karen on that one either.
No, although if you want to listen to that one, that episode was really long. We talked about a lot of other shit too. People seem to want us to keep talking, so we keep talking, and we talked about a lot of stuff. Tattoos and hair and me smashing my face on the pavement, a lot of stuff. So but that's up. Anything else this week? Like I said, Revival I think starts the 12th, right? And Resident Alien starts the 6th.
In 2 days.
The 6th in 2 days. Okay, I gotta get those interviews done.
Yeah. So Resident Evil, not Resident. What did I say?
Resident Alien.
Alien is this weekend. We'll cover it next week, but then we won't have Revival till the following week.
Right. Yeah. And I still have more interviews for Better Sister coming, Murderbot, Librarians, and then I do have Revival and Resident Alien coming as well. But this is why I'm behind, and I need to get the rest of these up and finish posting all this stuff. But yeah, lots to come. Anything else you guys saw before we?
No, I mean I watched some other stuff that we don't cover. I finished Handmaid's Tale. I watched some other stuff, but nothing that we are into. So
I'm on season 2 of Librarians.
Oh, of the original Librarians.
Yeah.
So
I watched all 3 movies, and I'm on season 2 of the show.
I caught up on the new show. That's all I watched with the 2 episodes. Whatever was on for the new show, I watched it.
Yeah, the third one just aired, I think.
Seemed kind of long, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched some of the original with Noah Wiley. I'll probably have to go back, but yeah, I'm kind of up there on this new show.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun.
Fun.
And this week's one, now AJ, now that the third one's been out, the one you had watched ahead, I really like this one. The train.
Yeah, I like the train one a lot too. Karen,
Yeah.
I compared. I said it was kind of like a cross between Warehouse 13 and Sleepy Hollow. This new season because of the man out of time and everything.
Oh yeah,
He's a bigger jerk than Ichabod, but it's the same concept.
Yeah. All right, so we're back next week. We're gonna drop Who, but we're gonna pick up some new stuff next week, and I'll be in a more positive frame of mind. I promise.
We hope.
You don't have to be.
Yeah, you don't have to be. It's okay. But yes, please make sure that you come back Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern for our discussion on Librarians, the next chapter. And of course, the watch party is at actually 9:30. I think we're going to do it at 9:30 in Discord, so it's not quite such a rush to get onto the live stream right after the watch party. But that is all Thursday.
All right, and make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel, right?
Yes, please like and subscribe. Check out all our videos, all that. But yeah, we have shows, quite a few shows all week. So check the schedule in Discord. But yes, our next one is Thursday before we start all over again. So.
Okay.
Guys, have a
Good
don't
night,
go.
Muncher.
Don't go. I don't know what to say, Muncher.
Good night, ladies.
Good
night, Muncher, and everybody else in the chat.
For coming. We appreciate it.
Good night, you guys.
Good
Bye.
night. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.